From the Sugar Shack Studios in Texas, USA, it's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, talk with a fellow about his million-mile Suburban. Yep, without an engine overhaul.
Wow.
I got to drive the updated Buick Encore GX. I'll give you my thoughts on it. Conrad has the cruise-in calendar and This Week in Auto History. And later, we'll bring you the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Just ahead on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. We've had some interesting conversations here in the studio prior to air, and I guess we really shouldn't go into all of that, should we,
No,
Mr.
no.
Mars?
No.
Well, we could, but it wouldn't be. We wouldn't be on the air very long.
Afraid not.
No, you three wouldn't be on the air very long. It would be my show.
Well, Xfinity would come up with their emergency truck to cut the cable. That's the way that would work.
Well, between 9 and 7. Between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., they would be out to cut the cable.
Yeah, yeah. And then they call it at about 7 p.m. and go,
Can we reschedule?
Yeah, we're not going to be able to make it today, but at any rate. So,
Cable guy.
Ben Welch drove his new Chevy Suburban off the dealership lot in 1994. I don't know if I'd tell everybody that. He was curious to see how many miles it would go by following a good maintenance routine. Per General Motors, only about 1% of Suburbans go over 250,000 miles.
Wow.
So it was remarkable when Welch watched his odometer flip to 1 million miles earlier this year. Does it go that far?
Yep. Well, it doesn't go to 1 million. It goes to all zeros again because everything's had a 1 million mile odometer on it, probably since the late 70s.
Okay. Well, all that without a complete engine overhaul or the engine pulled from the vehicle for service. And joining us now is Ben Welch. Ben, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Well,
Good to talk to you.
I'm Don. Mike's over there in the green shirt, and we've got also Conrad DeLong here and Jeff Zekin, so you're going to get bombarded by questions.
Sue's just walked in.
Okay.
Let me just say that it is remarkable, but clearly you were very conscientious about engine oil changes and the maintenance schedule. Did you follow it by the book, or did you use your own?
You want me to tell you the truth, Don?
Yes.
Here's the deal. First of all, when I bought the vehicle, my intent wasn't to keep it forever. In fact, I was going to trade every year. And I went down after the first year. I had about $35,000. Could have traded for about $5,000, which I thought was reasonable. But I got to looking at the 95s, and between 94 and 95, General Motors discontinued that outside armrest on the front seats. And I really liked that. So I thought, they'll probably bring those back next year.
Nope.
So I came back in 96. Nope. Came back 3 times. They didn't bring it back. So I thought, I'll just run it a couple of years. So that's the real story on the Suburban.
So it all centers around the armrest, really.
Actually, it does.
Comfort.
Yeah, comfort. Well, absolutely. Let me ask you this. On a 1 million mile vehicle, have you had to have the seat repaired or pumped up or put some new foam under it or something?
We were just talking about that as we were waiting. The interior is all original, with the exception of that front seat, because I don't know what, Randy, couple 300, 400,000, whatever. It actually flew back on me one time. The weld busted. So I had to get a new front seat, and I had Randy weld it up before we even put it in there. But that's the only part that's not of the interior that's not original, guys.
Tell us who Randy is.
Randy's right here. He's a mechanic. And I probably wouldn't be running the vehicle if I hadn't had Randy around, because all the odds and ends, he's been able to take care of it in short order and just made it really convenient.
Well, you folks up there in Nebraska have got a different set of parameters that you have to work within, especially after the snowfall and bringing it out in the spring. But I assume that this is not some sort of showpiece, that this is something that you drive every day.
This is a working vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, every day.
Have you had any rust issues from the salt on the roads?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I spent $4,000 on body work.
Oh really? Did they replace some panels for you, or patch some panels?
Yeah, I have this front left panel. They did that, and I don't know, just various stuff. And the back. I think the back right. Well, where the exhaust comes out, that was rusting. So I had that. Actually, it was $3,850, which I thought was reasonable.
Did you have a complete respray on the car?
No.
No. So it's
No.
got the original paint except where you had it repaired.
Well, one side, I think over here they resprayed it.
Yeah.
So
Well, it looks
That was
pretty
part of
good.
that.
I mean, I can actually see the lights reflecting off the hood. This isn't some.
Yeah, it looks very good.
Yeah, it looks really good. You've taken real good care of it. Do you wax it frequently?
yep, I try to polish it twice a year.
Yeah.
Twice a year I polish it, and I don't want to drive a junk heap, but
So what has been your oil change regimen to get 1 million miles out of it?
I started out at 5,000 mile oil changes, and I took the oil sample. I'd send in an oil sample, and after a couple of them, I thought, well, this is ridiculous. Everything's coming out good. So I just went to 10,000 mile oil changes, and that's when I changed oil and filter at 10,000. I guess that's it. 10,000 mile oil changes. So, and the reason I went to 10,000, even though I knew with this oil I could go a lot longer, but I didn't want it to go over 10,000 without greasing it. And
Right.
so Randy has Rhino grease. And guys, believe it or not, my very first front end work was done at 892,000.
Oh, that's surprising. Any transmission work done to it?
Yeah, we've had actually 3 transmissions. One of them put in only went 10,000, so it was rebuilt.
Yep.
So I've had transmissions about 300,000, probably average, right, Randy? Yeah. So
Do you know how much money you have sunk into it after the initial purchase price in repairs and keeping it maintenance up to date and that sort of stuff? Do you ever put
Randy's got that.
put those figures together? I mean, what's a transmission these days? 2, 3, 4,000,
4 to 6. Yeah.
4 to 6.
Oh yeah, transmission's expensive, so that would be the big one probably. The
Yeah.
transmission.
Yeah. Rear end.
Rear end. I hit just a horrible hole in the interstate one day, and it kind of did a number on the rear end, knocked the tooth out of it. So I bought a used rear end, and Randy put that in. So there's been several odds and ends.
Have you had to replace the windshield in it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Going down the country roads, you get a lot of rocks. It's probably the 4th or 5th windshield. Couple
Ben-
100,000.
Well, Ben, I would imagine. Are you retired or are you still working?
I've never really worked, but I don't know if I'm retired or not. I still do what I've done for 40 years.
What's that? What do you do?
50 years. Actually, I ran onto this stuff that I'm using in here. See, I use a special oil, special grease. Every time I fill up, I add an ounce of fuel mate to it. Every 5,000 miles, I put a pint of fuel system cleaner in it, and it just keeps everything extremely clean and well lubricated. Well, I got excited about this stuff. I was just back from Vietnam, didn't have any money, bought a used car. It was actually a 61 Lincoln. This was in 71. And not very long after I bought it, had about 90,000 miles on it, just started drinking oil, going through a quart of oil every 50 miles. And so I didn't have any money. And so I put some STP in it, and it helped. Took it from a quart every 50 to 150 miles. But I was adding a quart of oil to 150 miles. And that's when I ran onto this stuff. And, I was kind of intrigued with what the guy told me. And it was developed by a guy named Harry Conklin. And what he did, he invented what he called a polar molecule. Just like two magnets will attach themselves together. Well, that's how this stuff works. It actually works itself into the metal, and in the process, lifts off any sludge or carbon or varnish. Well, I dumped a pint of this stuff. It was called TKO into that crankcase of that old Lincoln, and it went 400 miles before I had to add a quart of oil. I drained that oil, put in another fresh oil, and I was using Pennzoil at the time. Another pint of this stuff, and it went 1,400 miles. I never had to rebuild it. And I'd had 2 different mechanics run a compression check, and both of them told me I had a busted ring and I'd have to overhaul it. Well, that was $800 back then, and so I didn't have the money, so that's why I was just getting by. So by putting that stuff in, I never had to rebuild that engine. So that's what really got me started.
So Ben, are you working or not?
I don't know. Are we working now? I'm just having fun.
Having fun. Well, what kind of oil do you use? Regular oil. What kind of regular oil do you use?
It was one of these products that Harry Conklin. Well, I've got the stuff here if you guys want to see it.
No, we don't want to see it. We just want to hear what you have to say about it. Because remember, we're not only video, but we're also audio, and we got a lot of podcast people that aren't looking. But
most people won't see it.
But what's the name of it?
So you use 530?
It's 1540.
Actually, this is 1540, which wasn't recommended, but I'd always use this, so I just started using this 1540. It was the very first parasynthetic on the market. It's Convoy.
Yeah.
So it's got Molly in it as well, guys. So it's like having a billion little ball bearings in your oil.
So, well, Conrad used to work for BG Products, so we know all about that over and over again. But I want to ask you about the tires. How many sets of tires have you had on over 1 million miles?
Well, I've averaged at least 100,000 per set.
Wow.
You guys are not going to believe this.
So 10 sets.
I told you the first front end work was done at 892,000. Okay. That's when I put on the last set of tires. So these have over 108,000 right now.
That's a lot of miles on a set of tires.
What do you do? Do you have them pumped up to like 100 pounds PSI and just kind of barely go around corners with it?
A quarter an inch.
Yeah. What is the secret to that?
The grease that Randy uses.
But for the tires.
For the tires?
Rotation.
Yeah, excuse me, guys. Yes, here's the very first set of tires that when it was on here, when I bought it, I only got 38,000 out of the tires because I didn't rotate them. And that's when the tire guy says, you ought to rotate these every 5,000. That's the other thing I do at 5,000 miles. I rotate the tires. That's the key to a long tire life.
Do you have them going in the same direction all the time, or do you crisscross them?
They crisscross.
They crisscross them.
Gotcha.
So X pattern, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do you have now that you're a real dyed in the wool kind of guy? Do you go with one brand of tires?
Michelin. I run Michelin. That's what was on here when I got it.
Yeah.
So I just stayed with the Michelins.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, it's a true pleasure to talk to you. You know, we don't really talk to too many people that got 1 million miles on their Suburban, and the thing looks pretty darn good. Obviously, you're not a cheapskate when it comes to keeping up with maintenance on the thing. And all I can think of is, hey, the guy.
It's paid dividends.
Yeah, paid dividends. I mean,
he's waiting for that armrest to come back.
yeah. And you may consider another vehicle, but at this point, I'd like to think that you're not in the market for another vehicle ever.
Actually, about 3 years ago, I bought a new Suburban, and so that's why this one doesn't have 1,400,000 on it.
I got you.
But I take this out in the country. So
you've had it for about 22, 23 years, right?
Well, from 94 to, it'd be close to 30 years, right?
Yep, close to 30.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Yeah.
29.
I didn't take my shoes off to do my math. But anyway, did you figure out? So how much?
Mars is from Oklahoma. Math is hard.
Math is hard. So your maintenance costs and stuff. How much have you spent over the 30 years? Do you have an idea, or does Randy?
Randy would have an idea, but
with everything we've done, it's probably a little over 40,000.
So about half the price of a new one.
Half the price of a new one, yeah. And with people that probably keep their vehicles 100 to 150,000, that's about 8 Suburbans. So for what they cost today, it's what are they? 80,000, 75, 80,000.
Every bit of that.
So, yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys. and just out of curiosity, and we'll just leave it at this, I've never heard of Conklin products, and neither is Conrad. Are they only available in the Midwest?
Oh, no, they're available nationwide, but they are very well known. It's a fairly small company.
Yeah.
So, I ran into it. They're probably, 50? Well, the original formulas were probably back in the 1930s, and they're still using those original formulas. Probably the best kept secret out there.
Well, it's
cool.
We'll have to look that up.
Congratulations.
CONKLINS. Okay. Well, gentlemen, it's a pleasure talking to you, and thank you also to your photographer there and your videographer, however you want to refer to him. We appreciate you guys getting up and talking to us this morning.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to get that many miles on a American-built car.
You guys haven't heard the million miles is not the impressive part on that to me, because at 400,000, which one of you is from Oklahoma?
That would be Mr. Mars.
I lived in Oklahoma for 10 years.
That doesn't count.
Okay. I was down in the Tulsa area when this had about 400,000. I was coming back, and you know where Joplin, Missouri is, okay? And you get on, it used to be Highway 71. It's Interstate 49 now, long straight. Well, anyway, it was July 5th, really hot, and just about Joplin, the air conditioner quit working, and I turned north, and what had happened, I was so stupid, really. I didn't realize I had a problem. I thought there was ruts on the road. Well, what had happened, the air conditioning compressor had gone out, and I didn't have a serpentine belt, which means I didn't have a water pump and all the rest of it. And I ran that thing 110 miles. And July 5th that day in Oklahoma, when I finally stopped up in Missouri, it was 106 degrees.
Oh, my gosh.
So your engine was about 280, almost 300.
Oh, it should have melted down.
Well, but if you'd have slowed down, it would have.
Well,
yeah, that was good.
But anyway, the fact that it hung together for another 600,000 guys.
Yeah.
That's the real story on this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
GM Big Block. I guess that was a 350.
It's a 350.
350,
yeah. 350. That explains a lot.
There you go. Well, gentlemen, again, we thank you very much for joining us today, and best of luck to you. Let's get 2 million miles on it. Give us a call when that happens.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. All right.
So Conklin does agriculture, roofing, animal products, home health, and vehicle products.
And you can get your prostate checked.
Are you volunteering to check it for him? How long is that finger?
Oh my God!
Oh, guys.
There's that. All right. Mars, how's your editing these days?
It's going to have to get a lot better. I can see that coming.
Time now for the Cruise In calendar. Do we dare even look at the Cruise In calendar?
Sure.
Okay.
Classic Cars and Trucks Cruise In Brazos Valley Brewing is tonight or this afternoon at 12 p.m. in Brenham.
That would be noon.
Today.
Yeah, noon today, not tonight. Mm-hmm.
Saturday Jumpstart at 1902 East Texas Expressway in Killeen is today at noon. At 2 p.m., Cars and Cocktails at South Shore Harbor in League City. The Chili Cook-Off and Car Show.
Wait, Cars and Cocktails.
Cars and Cocktails.
You know, I don't know about you, but I heard that you're not supposed to drink and drive, and those kind of two things go together, don't they?
Well, I don't know about eating a bunch of chili and driving a long distance either.
Yes, Mr. Mars, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, when I was living in San Antonio, they have a big skeet tournament, an international skeet tournament there outside of San Antonio, and I was
you take a shotgun and you blow.
Yeah, and you shoot stuff, and the beer
Clay
stands
pigeons.
over there, you know, so that in between shooting the clay pigeons and all, they sometimes use live pigeons, but you can go over there and drink, and all these guys are walking around with these shotguns. I'm kind of going, what?
Well, this is Texas. We know how to handle guns.
Right.
Apparently, we do
Safely.
All right.
It's the beer I was worried
Sorry,
about.
go ahead.
Pontiacs and Pints, another one. At Wildcatter Saloon in Katy. That's tomorrow starting at 2. And then Sunday night, Chaos Car Cruise in at the Twisted Grill Cheese on Katy Freeway. That's tomorrow at 11. And finally, Classy Rides Car Show in Nederland. Got to get one of them golden triangle ones in there for you, Mars.
Thank you.
And then, of course, 2 weeks from now is at Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the Car Social, and
Yep.
then that's Saturday, and then Sunday after that is Coffee and Chrome.
And next weekend, not a cruise in. Well, if it could be a cruise in. This is a serious cruise in. That's Autorama. So go there.
Best show in
Yeah.
town every year.
Time now for this hour's car review. Had a chance to drive the 2024 Buick Encore GX. It comes in 3 trim levels: Preferred, Sport Touring, and Avenir. I had the Avenir, top of the line. This is a small SUV, seats 5 passengers. Good luck on 6-footers in the second row. Exterior changes from last model year. It's got some new front end styling on it, part of the 2020 original design. Exterior features: Nike / lighting up front with a big lowered grille. It really does look good, and it doesn't even look like an
agree.
old Buick anymore. Sculpted sides with painted wheel opening moldings, which is really nice, not to have the black plastic moldings to highlight the wheel openings. I don't understand why they do that. High-mounted tail lights, but it's got also a big hatch and fake dual exhaust. Tractive wheels match the trim level. What I like, this is one sharp-looking little SUV. Don't you agree?
I thought so. I saw it out front. I thought it was very good looking. And it's got that new Tri-Shield Buick logo
Yeah.
on it, so it's something different.
Yep, it is. Interior highlights: huge instrument and infotainment screen stretches from driver to right above the center console. Overall, dash design is excellent with easy-to-find controls, premium materials throughout the cabin, comfortable ventilated faux leather seats. I couldn't tell the difference. It's certainly not like the Naga hides we used to have back in the day. Cargo and trunk room, folding second rear seat allows for more room than you'd think in this small SUV. What I liked, passive phone charger under the dash, out of the way for stowing. What could use improvement? Shifter on the center console takes up too much room. I'm not a big shifter in the middle unless it's a manual shifter. Why? It doesn't make any sense anymore. Push buttons or a dial
And
or
the
something.
pleated seats look pretty cool.
Yes. 1.3 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine.
That seems to be
This is
popular
the
this year.
optional upsize, by the way. 155 horsepower, 174 pound-feet of torque. Doesn't seem like a lot of horsepower. Well,
Sufficient?
got a CVT transmission. This is a front-wheel drive vehicle. Will tow up to 1,000 pounds, which is nothing. City miles per gallon 29, on the highway 31 for a combined of 30. I got 32 miles per gallon over
Wow.
336.1 miles. What I liked, felt like plenty of power. What could use improvement? Give me some paddle shifters. Why not? I mean, what would that cost a manufacturer to put paddle shifters on?
Yeah, but to me, my head, paddle shifters and CVT just don't blend.
Well,
And 1.3.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, that turbo, that's the beauty of a CVT. It'll get the turbo up in its power band and then adjust the transmission ratio to keep the turbo in its power band. So paddle shifters.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't
contrary to
even recognize the fact that it was a CVT.
CVT.
They've gotten pretty good at that.
Yep.
Ride and handling can be a little stiff on some Houston streets, great on the highway. What could use improvement? A little softer suspension, but not floaty. It just seems a little stiff in the back end.
Which
Well,
is
it's a
unusual
small
for a Buick.
wheelbase.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it is a small wheelbase. Base trim price, $31,900. Prices tested, $35,740.
Not bad.
Base model price, $25,600. I thought that was pretty good. Now, competitors, Chevy Trailblazer, $23,100. Honda HR-V, $24,000. Mazda CX-30, $24,900. And the Subaru Crosstrek Trek Mars, $24,995. Same price, exact same price as the Mazda. Isn't that funny? But anyway, those are the competitors. And that is the review of the Buick 2024 Encore GX Avenir front-wheel drive.
Good,
I liked it.
good-looking car.
It is. It truly is. And if you're in the market for something like that,
Do you know what Avenir is?
it's a trim level.
Yeah, but it's also a font on your computer, in your Word document. Avenir is a type of font.
Why would you know that?
It is.
Because I just looked it up. I never knew what Avenir was, you know.
It sounds sophisticated.
Yes, it does.
Kind of like Park Avenue.
At Park Avenir. That's what
Avenir.
they should have called it, the Park Avenir.
I don't think the park would have been.
I'm leaning toward deuce and a quarter. Buick, deuce and a quarter.
Buick.
Roadmaster.
You know, I will tell you that
Vista.
that story that we did last week on station wagons, and that one particular, I think it was a Buick station wagon, the Roadmaster with the wood side paneling on it. It's got me thinking, and I'm moving over to the Jeff Zekin point of view.
You have to.
The wagon thing has become very attractive to me. Don't ask me
And you
why.
got the Vista roof with the
on that particular
win-
model,
yeah,
yes.
with the windows.
Leave it in the shipping crate so the wood's still there on the side and everything.
Remember, Buick did the Rendezvous that had the,
Oh God!
but it had the rear hatch opened up to almost like a bed. So it had a sunroof that moved forward and a rear gate on it. Kind of, but it would be an in-wheel time mobile studio.
No, it would not.
Okay.
No, it would never be that ever. No.
The Rendezvous was
No.
a cousin of the Pontiac Aztec,
Yes.
which was definitely the ugliest thing GM ever made.
Yeah, or anybody.
Yeah.
Would you drive a Rendezvous?
Maybe. If it was like
Free.
if it was a beige color.
Hey, the In-Wheel
Tubbed
Time.
out with an LS in it.
The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com, and podcasts are available on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets out there. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break. Houston's finest cars are invited to another Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, and you're invited too. Show off your personal pride and joy, or just stop in to see the likes of Lucid, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, and more. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. It all takes place Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon. This is the perfect opportunity to connect with other car enthusiasts. From BMWs to Bentleys, Corvettes to McLarens, the Car Social is a different kind of show. Talk to the owners. See Gulf Coast Auto Shield's facility. You'll be amazed. Put it on your calendar now. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. We'll see you then.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars. The ultimate lowrider showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics. See Lone Star Throwdowns, Texas-sized truck spread. And don't miss the traditional rod and custom section. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, see wild, high-flying, freestyle motocross stunt shows. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend on the celebrity stage presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Friday, meet AEW Tag Team Superstars, the Lucha Bros. Saturday, it's Noel G, Hector from the Fast and Furious. Sunday, it's Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama, November 23rd through 26th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupi's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggie Land? Head to the Lupi Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Lupi Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere. Welcome to the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, the hardest man to get a hold of in jolly old England, Richard Jenkins, and the, is it Terrell or Terrell? Racing.
We're going to
We'll find out.
I know we're going to find.
He'll tell us.
I know, but so that you, while we do the rest of this,
I think it's Terrell.
you think it's Terrell?
Is it Richard or Richard?
Well, we're going to
No,
find
it's
out about all
England.
that.
It's Richard.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can hear us, I can tell that, but
Yeah, I
we're
know.
looking
I
at
think he
him.
just left.
Yeah. Conrad has This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you caught up on the stories making auto news headlines this week. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, we always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday for our live show. If you're listening on a podcast later on in the week, well, thank you for listening, and welcome to this portion of the car show. All right. So before we even intro him, we're going to get the pronunciation right. Is it Terrell or is it Terrell?
It's Terrell.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, are you in London?
Not quite. Hatfield, where they made the old de Havilland Comet many, many years ago.
Okay.
All right. Well, his name is Richard Jenkins, and he has the story of the Terrell Racing Organization book that is out. And I know that folks are kind of starting to think about Christmas. Well, first off is Thanksgiving here in the U.S., obviously, but we have Christmas up. And for any car guy, I think that this would be an interesting read because it's about Formula One back in the day and the Terrell Racing Group. And so, Richard, what got you going on this? Why would you want to write a book about this?
Well, I've been very fortunate, to be honest. If you let me rewind just a little bit, about 3 years ago, I wrote a book on somebody that might be more familiar to American racing audiences, a guy called Richard Ginther. Used to race for Ferrari and Honda, won the Mexican Grand Prix. Bizarrely, it was my first book. I was very fortunate to be given the opportunity, and it did rather well. It won multiple awards, all of which is unreal because, all I did was just do my best and go from there. And the company that published this book, Tyrrell, Evro, got in touch and said, well, what would you like to do? And one of the key things that I wanted to bring was something that hasn't been done before. So I was the first to do the Richard Ginther book. And no one, believe it or not, has ever done a book on Tyrrell from the start to the finish. It's mainly been the Jackie Stewart era, obviously because it was extremely successful. But no one's really covered the other guys, and they had Danny Sullivan, Eddie Cheever, Derek Daly, Michele Alboreto, Martin Brundle, John Alesi, very, very famous names. And their time at Tyrrell was just a tiny fraction of what's been in literature before. So that was the genesis of it.
Who is Ken Tyrrell?
Well, Ken is no longer with us, but Ken Tyrrell was a timber merchant. That was his day job, and racing was just a bit of fun. And he, from a little woodshed just think of the forests, the lumberjacks, and think of their sheds. He ran a championship-winning organisation from the shed. Extremely argumentative guy, but in a good way. He liked an argument. He was very forthright, but extremely passionate about his sport, extremely passionate about the people that work with him.
And very inventive. He had an advanced mind as far as the race car goes, and my view of the world was so far advanced, a lot of his innovations that he brought to his cars were shortly outlawed.
Yes.
You know, the most famous, to me, the most famous Terrell car is the 6-wheeled car, the 4 front tires on an F1 car. I don't know that it was overly successful, but it sure was memorable to see that car on track. And then not to get support from Goodyear by building the tires for him to do what he wanted to do. But then that kind of chassis, that 6-wheel chassis, ended up getting outlawed by Formula One as well. So a lot of things Terrell did ended up being outlawed in the next year or two. And you know, a little bit of history of, do I call it cheating? Or super innovation of refilling the car with lead shot so it would pass spec at the end of.
I think they call that cheating.
He would pass spec at the end of the race.
I think bending the rules is the
bending the rules.
The gray area.
We'll go with that.
The gray area, like
if you're
the T.
racing and you're successful, you're cheating somewhere. You just haven't got caught yet.
Yes. So I assume that you cover all this in the book.
Yes, yeah. I mean, what you just said about the innovation. I mean, though Ken himself wasn't that mechanically minded, there are so many things. But the fan car in the book, a lot of people think the first fan car was from Brabham and Gordon Murray, and that got outlawed after one race. But in fact, Tyrrell were the first people with the fan car. The one thing that didn't get outlawed, and just bear with me, I don't know how well you can see it if I put it in front of me, but on the front cover of the book, on the bottom, we have John Alesi with the high nose, and a chap called Harvey Postlethwaite, who you may have heard of, used to be Ferrari designer. Him and a French chap called Jean-Claude Migeot came up with the high nose concept, and for the next probably 30 years, at least 20 years, every single Formula One car had that high nose. You know, so yes, they're extremely innovative, but that one actually was within the rules and stayed. But yeah, the P34, which you mentioned, 6-wheeler, it did win one race, but yes, very quickly, Goodyear. This was James Hunt, Niki Lauda, 1976, the Rush season. So Goodyear had a choice of focusing between the P34 for one car, one team,
or everybody else,
and the other 10 teams. So easy decision really for Goodyear to make.
How long did it take you to write this book, put all this stuff together?
About 3 years, all in all. I was lucky. I probably couldn't do it now in 3 years, but this was started during COVID, and COVID for an author is actually somewhat of a dream, because you have people that cannot escape, and their only recourse is Zoom or a phone call or something. You're actually making their day by getting in contact with them. But then, thankfully, everything went back into the wild, and trying to track down people was a bit more difficult after that. But yes, it's just been a consistent 2 to 3 years of hard work and trying to get hold of as many people as I can.
And did you talk to a lot of the characters you have in the book? You know, as far as the designers and some of the drivers, the list of people Terrell had surrounding him on the team was amazing. You know, even if you just talk about the drivers, you've named a few of them. You know, Jackie Stewart, John Surtees, Jackie Ickx, Jody Scheckter, Patrick Depailler. You know, some of the great F1 drivers have driven a Terrell through the years.
Yeah, I think we've got 32 of the, what was then, 40 drivers alive. We've lost a couple since. But 32, including Martin Brundle's got a massive, maybe not so much in America, but certainly in Britain, he's got a very high profile Sky F1 now.
Right. Until he does the grid walk, and people have no idea who he is, and he sticks a microphone in their face and they walk away from him.
We might get this at Vegas as well, I don't know. But so Jackie Stewart, everybody like that. There are only 7, 8 drivers out of the entire living drivers who didn't or couldn't help. The Tyrrell family, Ken's sons are still alive, Bob and Kenneth. And the designers, there's not many designers still alive, unfortunately, but me, Joe, but also the mechanics. Because what I wanted to do is not just get the stories, to be completely fair to Jackie Stewart, he deserves everything and he deserves to be listened to. But it does get repetitive after 40, 50 years of hearing the same stories. Sometimes it was nice to go to the mechanics and the fabricators, the guys that were at the front of the car or the back, and hear their stories because they've never had their chance as well. So I think it was about 110 people associated with Tyrrell in the end.
Oh,
All
wow.
I can think of is, 110 guys that he's got to get a hold of, track down to talk to them. I don't know how you were able to do that. Talk about perseverance and patience. That would be your story. How did you get Jackie Stewart to write the foreword in the book?
To go back one step, Mike, I wrote a second book about a guy called Mike Spence, who, again, if you know your history, used to race with Lotus, died in Indianapolis 500 qualifying in 1968. His widow, who sadly has died since, was quite close to Jackie because Mike and Jackie were very good friends. And it's sometimes not what you know, but it's who you know and who you know and who they know. She was a very, very forthright South African, like a lot of South Africans are. And she just got in touch with Jackie and said, Jackie, because she wouldn't call him Sir Jackie, she'd go straight to the point. Jackie, just write his foreword, just sort it out. And so he did. So I've got Mike Spence's widow to thank for that. So.
Oh, cool.
And that's the kind of thing that I was alluding to, is the fact that you got to go to this person who knows that person, who might know somebody else that'll get you into the door, a Jackie Stewart, to say, hey, would you write a foreword to me?
I know a guy that knows a guy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. The first outlet for his work was the website Old Racing Cars. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I've been doing that for 20, 21 years now. There's two of us. I concentrate, or did concentrate, on the drivers and where they are, from the successful world champions to the guys that just race one race. Then I've expanded it a bit to the designers, the team personnel, team principals, people like that. I've covered IndyCar now, so I cover everybody that's ever started or qualified for the Indianapolis 500. The IndyCar series, ARS, and all that sort of thing. My colleague Alan, he concentrates on the cars. Again, majority single-seater, but where those cars are now, have they ended up in a scrapyard? Are they being raced in historic racing? Are they owned by either secret or very public personnel? So basically, it's a free service. It's a website. We don't have adverts. We don't have logins and special passwords. You can just Google, and a lot of people find us that way.
Richard, where did you get your passion for racing?
Back in probably 86, 87, we had a chap called Nigel Mansell, who was doing quite well in Britain, nearly won the 1986 World Championship. And whatever you think of Mansell, he has a persona and he has a character around him, and that whips up the media. And, when I was about 8 or 9, this kind of thing was very intoxicating. And I've ended up not being particularly a Mansell fan, but seeing these fast cars, this was a time when you'd had the turbos were still there, so you had the sparks, anybody could win because the cars weren't reliable. It was just intoxicating, and as I say, it's really gone from there.
Did you go to the Saturday night races in the local area there?
There weren't too many in my local area. It's something I've gone to a bit more. Probably about early 90s, started going to the Grand Prix. I don't live too far from Silverstone, so I've gone to quite a few Silverstone events. And more recently, I tend to go to the historic stuff. But I still go to the Grand Prix every year, the British Grand Prix. So I still watch current racing.
Do you get to Goodwood and watch some of the nostalgic cars run up the hill, or what they call a hill? I don't know how much.
Yeah, no, it is. And there's another one, perhaps not so well known in America, but there's a place called Shelsley Walsh, which is in Worcestershire. It's been there since about the early 20s. And again, it's the same thing. You see the cars going up the hill. It's a fantastic spectacle. Went to Brooklands a couple of weeks ago, and it's not the same, obviously, as it was 100 years ago, but you get the feeling for it. So, yeah, very much interested and passionate in it still.
Are you going to watch the Formula One race from Las Vegas this weekend?
I will. I think it's 6 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
So it's an early start, but I have 3 children and a dog, so I'll be up early anyway. So, it should be good. It's not quite the same for me as it was in the 80s and 90s, but I still watch every race. Still hope that somebody other than Verstappen wins. Nothing against him personally. I just like to see the variation of drivers. But
another thing about Terrell as an organization that evolved into, I believe, was it Braun that ended up evolving into the current Mercedes team? Is that correct?
Yes. So the same. If you go into a thing called Companies House in the UK, which registers all companies, all businesses, Mercedes right now, out there in Vegas, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, all the latest technology, they have the same company ID as the Tyrrell Racing Organisation set up in 1964.
Wow!
So it's the very same company in theory. So
fascinating. Richard, it is a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, sir. And thank you for hanging in there with us, and glad we got our clocks together.
Yeah.
And I posted a link on our social media to Amazon of your book, as well as a link to oldracingcars.com. I'm going to be a fan of that page as well. Yeah. Very cool page.
Well, Richard, again, it's the story of the Terrell Racing Organization, and it's available through your favorite bookseller. Richard, great to talk to you, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, sir.
You too, and have a Happy Thanksgiving as well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Fascinating. Mm-hmm. I like to hear that stuff.
Well, and he talked to a good group of 103 people to interview to create the book.
Yeah,
he's got a good view from the drivers to the family to the people that were building the cars and stuff. Pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. All right, time now for This Week in Auto History. Conrad has that. Where are we going to go to today?
Well, This Week in Auto History, in 1914, the first Dodge car leaves the factory. After finding massive success as a parts maker in Detroit's auto industry in the early 1900s, the Dodge brothers, John and Horace, signed a deal to build parts exclusively for Henry Ford. So the Dodge brothers worked for Henry Ford, and then in 1914 built their own car. Henry didn't pay them well. No surprise, Henry didn't pay anybody well. But what he did was he gave them stock in Ford Motor Company, and that stock in Ford Motor Company blossomed into a significant amount of money, and it was enough for them to start the Dodge Motor Company. In 1977, the 100 millionth Ford was built. It was a 1978 Ford Fairmont.
Futura. Oh, my God.
And as the car rolled off the assembly line in Mahwah, New Jersey.
Mahwah?
Mahwah.
Is that like Wawa?
No, that's code for tub it out.
It spent many of its early years traveling the country as the 100 millionth Ford built. You know, funny thing about that car,
of all
that was
the
actually
things to have the 100 millionth. You know, they could fix that.
You could have
Could have
made
made it a 150 or
or a
something.
Mustang or
Anything,
something.
but
and
not a Ford Fairmont.
The chassis of that Fairmont is the same Fox body chassis of the Mustang, so it could have been a Mustang, but it wasn't.
Okay.
In 1996, this week, GM releases the EV1, their first electric car. General Motors released it, manufactured in Lansing, Michigan. It had a range of 70 to 90 miles. So you talk about range anxiety.
I will never forget when I first saw that. You know, our Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, for some reason or another, he was on radio at the time, and I met him for lunch.
And he had one of these?
He had one of these things, and I thought,
Ugly
my
duckling.
God, that thing is so ugly. And he looked at me and says, you think?
Well, the other thing you got to remember, and this is the genius of General Motors, and I won't go down that rabbit trail, the original name of this car was the Impact.
Oh, great.
What a great name for a car. Well, GM had so much confidence in it that they only made it available through a lease program with an MSRP of $33,995.
Wow, that's a lot.
After the lease had concluded, GM collected as many of them as they could and scrapped them and stacked them up as scrap heap.
Cordwood.
They crushed them and scrapped all of them, except a few that were in museums. I think Jay Leno has one in his garage still. So, but generally they were all destroyed. And then in 1998, Larry Shinoda passed away.
Oh, yeah, Larry Shinoda.
Now,
yeah.
Larry Shinoda,
Corvette.
very famous designer, was integral in the design of the 63 Corvette.
Yep.
The new, and he was a fan of the split window, though there was reasons for the split window because they couldn't lay the glass correctly in
That's correct.
63.
And most people don't know that. But the split window, they had to make it
Right.
because the original design was 64 and beyond with one solid piece of
Right.
glass, but they couldn't do it.
And a number of people, once the rear glass was released for the 64, went in and cut the split out of it and put the 64 rear glass
Yep.
in it. Really destroyed the value of them. But, you know, if you think of Larry Shinoda, he was not only a great car designer, he was involved, in my opinion, some of the most iconic cars ever produced. The 63 Corvette, along, you know, he and Bill Mitchell, but also with the 69, 70, 71, 72 Mustang. You know, he was a designer of that. And then finally, the Grand Cherokee, he was the designer of the Grand Cherokee. And then there's one more. And the, you know, and you think that was the start of the small SUV world, was the Grand Cherokee. So, you know, Larry Shinoda, very, very famous designer, but his passing was a loss to the auto industry. That was this week in automotive
That's
history.
good. That's good. I like Larry Shinoda. Yeah, I remember him very well. Back in the day, he was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Time now for some of the stories making headlines this week. Well, the GM deal was saved by the company's component plants, parts depots, and battery plants, where workers who stand to get the largest raises canceled out opposition from assembly plant employees already getting top wages. The headline, 3 UAW deals ratified, but GM, it's a tight vote. The Detroit Three say their newly ratified contracts with the UAW make working in the factories pay better than 70% of other U.S. jobs. In all fields, not just manufacturing, the deals give immediate $5,000 bonuses and push top wages above $40 an hour in 2028. More than 35,000 of the automaker's hourly workers still voted no. While the contracts passed by wide margins at Ford and Stellantis, there was widespread opposition at GM. GM's contract passed by fewer than 3,300 votes, less than half the margin for a far less lucrative deal in 2019. In a move to take online vehicle shopping to a new level, this is earth-shattering here. Hyundai and Amazon will partner on a digital storefront to sell the South Korean automaker's vehicles to consumers. Hyundai will be the first auto manufacturer to use Amazon's digital retailing tool to conduct a full end-to-end transaction. Buyers will be able to tap Amazon's digital shopping platform to select and finance a vehicle. The sales will be channeled through local dealerships. What do you think that the other dealerships are going to say about that? The announcement immediately raised questions among some retailers and industry investors. Lithia, the nation's largest auto retail dealership group, saw its stock fall 5.1% in response this week. The stock price for number 2 auto group AutoNation slid 6%. Online auto sales referral service TrueCar stock dropped 7%. The digital retail giant is starting with the Hyundai brand. Amazon executives told Automotive News, but they expect to partner with other automakers.
So Amazon's going to show up and fix your recalls because Hyundai is notorious.
goes to the dealer.
No. They're that's just the
sales.
avenue to get it.
No, and you have to go to the dealership
to get your
Still to pick it
vehicle.
up.
You still got to do all the paperwork at the dealer and all that.
So it's basically a third-party retailer.
They did not say how much Amazon stock went up if all the others are going
Oh,
down.
they probably did. I just didn't read it.
That's all right.
You know, we can't read the whole story.
Ah,
It's just
well.
it's boring to death. Got some recalls to tell you about. A bunch of Mercedes-Benz A220, AMG A35, AMG CLA 35, CLA 45, CLA 250, GLA 250, GLB 250, and that's for missing brake inspection gauge. Sunroof may close unexpectedly in the Mercedes-Benz GLS 580. So when you've got your girlfriend going down the street, hanging out at the top of the car, and all of a sudden, oh, the kid's closing. Loss of steering control on the Honda Pilot for 23 and 24. That's not a
scary.
good
That's
thing.
scary.
Improperly secured windows may detach on the Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. You see a pattern here with the Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah.
Doesn't your wife have a Mercedes-Benz?
Yes, she does. I check it for recalls every month.
You should check it
Yeah,
every
every
day.
week, yeah.
Incorrect front driver airbag in the Tesla Model S and Model X for 21 through 23. An American Honda is recalling nearly 249,000 vehicles in the U.S. for a manufacturing error that could cause engine damage. Listen to this. The recall covers certain 2016 and 2018 to 19 Honda Pilot, 2017 and 2019 Ridgeline, and 2018 to 19 Odyssey vehicles. It also covers 2 models from Acura. The connecting rod bearing in the engine of those vehicles could wear and seize because of improper equipment settings used during production of the crankshaft.
But it only happens once.
So far this year, Honda has issued 16 recalls affecting nearly 3.3 million vehicles in the U.S., according to NHTSA data.
Wow.
What you got
That's
going on
that's
down
a
there,
lot.
Mars, with all the headset messing with?
I'm trying to get Steve Green to talk to me, but he don't want to talk to me.
Hell, nobody wants to talk to you. Are you
That's
kidding?
the problem.
All right, well,
Talk to him,
He's
Steve.
laughing at you. at
I
least.
know.
so apparently he can hear you.
Well,
So-
he's out.
Yeah.
If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up.
Oh, for
Well, he
God's
can
sakes,
hear
we
us,
don't
but
need
I
to
just
do
I
all
was
of
trying
that.
to hear him.
All right. All
We're
this-
going to hear him in about
Here.
2 minutes, two and a half
Here,
minutes.
let me go ahead and take care of all the headset rumbling around in here.
Everybody was recalled.
Yeah, and also let me just say this, that David Ainsley has said we need to get rid of these headsets. I said
agree.
that is not going to happen because none of the people that I work with have ever been in radio, and they don't know how to work a microphone. And clearly they still don't know how to work a microphone, but at least it's kind of in front of their mouth. Thank you. I'm feeling much better now.
Tell us how you really feel.
Time for a quick break. We'll be right back. You're on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show.
Like we
Houston's finest cars are invited to another Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, and you're invited too. Show off your personal pride and joy, or just stop in to see the likes of Lucid, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, and more. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. It all takes place Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon. This is the perfect opportunity to connect with other car enthusiasts. From BMWs to Bentleys, Corvettes to McLarens, the Car Social is a different kind of show. Talk to the owners. See Gulf Coast Auto Shield's facility. You'll be amazed. Put it on your calendar now. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. We'll see you then.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Auto Autorama at the George Hart Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars. The ultimate lowrider showcase, sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics. See Lone Star Throwdowns, Texas-sized truck spread, and don't miss the traditional rod and custom section. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, see wild, high-flying freestyle motocross stunt shows. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend on the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Friday, meet AEW Tag Team Superstars, the Lucha Bros. Saturday, it's Noel G, Hector from the Fast and Furious. Sunday, it's Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 23rd through 26th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
The original group of Loopy Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Loopy Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Loopy Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Loopy Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Loopy Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Loopy's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggie Land? Head to the Loopy Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Loopy Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Loopy Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere.
Welcome to the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we're going to talk to Autorama move-in specialist, therapist, and overall nut job. No one else wants to talk to him. That'd be Steve Green, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice intro.
Jeff has a segment on must-see car museums. Conrad has the racing calendar of what's left of it, and the car clinic. And later, we'll talk with State Trooper Steve Woodard, if we can get a hold of him. Plus, we'll have the stories making auto news this week just ahead on this segment of the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, cell phone teenager Mike Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We always need more Jeff Zeke, and I'm Don Armstrong, because that's what it looks like. As somebody said to me the other day, does he take his lessons from his granddaughter, always on his phone?
I try.
Try
and take lessons, yeah.
No, you don't try to take lessons.
He's TikToking over here.
You have to have goals.
Are you TikToking?
I wish.
Well, go ahead.
No,
so put us on TikTok.
You know, every time I went, when the TikTok first came out, every time I went to look at it, because a lot of car people were jumping on all over it.
Car people.
I know. And it wasn't car people on there either that kept popping up on mine. They were dancing, but not like what they're dancing now.
I
quit it.
I don't think I've ever been on TikTok.
Nope.
It's just not.
You heard Snoop announced he's going to give up smoking weed, right? He announced that on TikTok.
Oh, I saw it. He's going to give up smoking. I thought cigarettes.
No, he's going to give up smoking weed. I'm sure he's just doing edibles, or he's about to announce an edible.
Well, he is part owner of a farm.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. I heard he was paying somebody $67,000 a year to roll his blunts.
Really?
What a job that would be.
Man, those things have to be absolutely perfect.
Lick your fingers every once in a while.
You wouldn't have to do that. You'd have plenty around you.
Well, if you rolled a bad one, you get to.
It'd be kind of
quality control.
It'd be kind of like an alcoholic owning a distillery or a brewery. I mean, I got to sample my stuff.
Well, somebody's got to do quality control.
Somebody.
Well, when you go to bartender school, you have to drink your mistakes.
Speaking of bartenders, and ladies and gentlemen, from the Houston Autorama, here he is, Steve Green, Autorama Chaos Director.
Hey, good morning, guys.
He takes this stuff with a grain of salt. He just is like, hey, man, hey, Don, how's it going?
Hey.
Well, he has low expectations of us, and we deliver.
We do. Steve, how are you?
Yes, I'm great. How are y'all doing?
Is your therapist in the next room?
She's on the other line.
She's on the other line.
On the hotline.
So you can get a little help through this interview process. So how's it going? Autorama move-in, is just a few days away.
Oh, I know. It's crazy busy. We'll be doing that.
I want to ask you, is it sold out as far as displays are concerned?
Yes.
So
we're sold out.
Every space in the, well, this is the first time in a few years that's happened, isn't it?
Well, we have been sold out before, but we'll have some cancellations day of, something happens to a person's car or whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty exciting to have this.
Do you have a standby list in case you got an opening in the show floor?
Yes, we do.
And what do? You call them and say, "Hey, somebody's canceled on us. You want to come in?"
Yes, that's what I do. I say, "Can you get here Tuesday or Wednesday? We'll have you."
And they come running.
Yeah.
Because Autorama is where you want to be.
How many times do you get hit up for free tickets during the show?
Oh, quite a bit. It started a couple weeks ago. So.
It started a couple of weeks ago, and it reaches a crescendo on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So is there anything in particular that we should know? Anything you're doing? Are you going to put us across from Craig Bierman again?
Yeah, you'll be close to Craig.
Yeah. Well, I kind of figured, because you've already got all that mapped out, right?
By the end of the day tomorrow.
Well, Craig will be close to us.
Yeah, that's the way you got to put it. Yeah.
That's
so move-in starts on Tuesday morning?
Tuesday at noon. We go noon to 7 on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll start at 9 a.m. and go to 7.
So between now and noon Tuesday, you got to get in there and mark all the spaces off, and you're going to be busy.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work there. We go in Monday morning at 8, and we mark the floors.
So I assume that no mops are allowed on the floor while you're marking or after you've got it marked until everybody gets moved in.
Yeah, I hope not.
A mop.
So
how long does it take you to do it? How many spaces do you have to do?
Oh, goodness. Over 500.
Oh, wow.
And it takes us about 6 hours.
Now, do you actually use a tape measure?
We have a template that we roll. We move around on the floor and we mark the corners. So it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Is it a well-worn template?
We make a new one every year.
Oh, you do?
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah.
So the Magnificent Seven, has that already been determined who the Magnificent Seven are, so that you get their placement correct on the show floor?
Well, what has been determined is we've determined they're the first time shown at Houston Autorama. And so usually those guys, they are on the front row. Those are the cars that are debuting at Houston Autorama. So, but the 7 haven't been picked yet. They'll be picked on Friday.
But that's how you get that front. I think that's what we were talking to Larry a couple of weeks ago about, was how you pick that front row, and that's how you do it. Their debut
first
cars.
Time.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, have you run into any challenges?
No, everything seems to be going good right now. It's
Jinxed
kind of
it.
scary. So,
Yeah. Well, we sure hope that it doesn't rain on Tuesday. I have been to car shows in the past where, I've worked weeks on cleaning up my car, detailing it. Every nook and cranny has been touched by a rag or a brush or something on the car.
And then you drag it in an open trailer.
And then you drag it in on a trailer, even if it's an enclosed trailer. It's nothing perfect, and something always gets jacked up, and then you got to work another 3 or 4 hours just to get it in a semi condition like you had it when it was ready to go. And I know that you've got guys that like that come in there. They've worked on their cars for months, if not years, and they show up, and some fly in the ointment like rain the day of move-in creates absolute havoc. Here's the other thing too, Steve. I noticed that in years past, when we've brought in our car, and I'll go back to the Corvair, when I showed the Corvair in our booth, that the car has to go through an inspection first. All cars have to go through an inspection. And I rolled in there with a little more than a quarter of a tank, and the fire marshal goes, nuh-uh. So I had to go back outside the building and take a tour of downtown Houston, up and down all the streets that I never even knew existed,
just to burn
some fuel. And so that was one of the lessons that I've passed on to our cars that come into our booth every year. We've been lucky enough that we've had different ones. And this year, by the way, Steve, you're a car guy. You probably have heard of Mr. Norm. Mr. Norm's Dodges. Well, we've got a Mr. Norm car that's coming from Louisiana to show in our booth this year.
That's what I heard. Exciting. Can't wait
You
to see
already
it.
heard that? How did you hear that?
We had to send an application in.
Oh. So do you look at all of the applications?
Yes, they all come through me.
My God.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. 500 spaces, got to be at least 450, 470. Well, there's got to be at least 500 cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been working on this, Steve?
For this year?
Yeah.
This show? I started around May.
Oh, wow.
May.
June time.
So is in the series of shows that make up the Cavalcade of Customs, where is Houston in that placement? Are they the first show of the series, or are we the last show of the series?
Well, it kind of goes both ways. It's kind of the first show of the season here because the season runs now through April. But the guys showing at the show this year, they're eligible to get one last point for the 23 series. So
okay. So this is the 24th season, I guess. 2024 season? Is that what you're saying?
More or less, yes. This is the start of it.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of an overlap as far as points go then.
Right.
Cool. Did not know that.
And then our own Mill Winders Award from Craig is Houston's version of the Riddler, so to speak.
Correct. Yes, it is.
That's the top tier car, and a lot of these cars will make it from show to show, and they'll take basically the tour. And how many times do they take the top award? Will one car take multiple top awards at multiple shows? Because I know the criteria is first time shown in that city is one of the eligibility things. But let's say one of them takes Mill Winders in Houston. Is there a possibility or probability it may take one of the top awards in one of the other cities as well?
Absolutely, yes. Depending how many shows they want to do in our series, each city has, something equivalent to what we have as far as Mill Winders. And so they're eligible there as well.
Okay. Steve, so on the website, Autorama.com, it also has World of Wheels and Cavalcade of Customs. Are those shows within the show?
Well, World of Wheels, we have a lot of shows on the East Coast or the east part of the country, and those are our World of Wheels shows. And we have the Autoramas throughout the Midwest, and they're just different names they use.
I see. So
it's kind of a regional series.
Yeah. What I would assume that they've kind of gobbled up the shows that were probably back in the 60s, if not even in the 50s, that they used to call Cavalcade of Customs or World of Wheels. Here in Houston, we always went to Autorama, and the first one that I went to, I think I mentioned before, was down at the Albert Thomas Convention Center. Did you ever go to that one at the Albert Thomas, or are you too young, Steve?
Well, I never went to that one.
Uh-huh. Well, thanks for calling me out on that.
It's not he's too young, it's you're old.
Well, there's either way you want to look at it.
He wasn't even building a spine back then.
Right. So ISCA, International Show Car Association, I was actually a member of that back in 78, 79, when this show was over at Astro Hall. Remember Astro Hall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
another one that doesn't exist anymore.
That's correct. They mowed that thing down. But at any rate, ISCA, they still have a part of this, don't they?
Oh yes, they're our judging system for our shows. So they'll come down with a group of guys, and they'll do the classification and all the judging throughout the weekend and the awards.
I see. So those are ISCA is also an organization that, as a custom car owner, and not that I was a custom car owner, but I showed my car in a custom car show. I was a member of ISCA, which I got the sticker.
You paid the money.
I paid the money to be in the International Show Car Association. And do they have their own show within a show? I guess that's what I'm trying to drill down here.
I got you.
Are they still organizer of car shows?
No, I mean that's just part of right now. That's just the ISCA for our show. They're just our judging.
Okay,
well, it's kind of like a governing body to keep things standardized.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Then tell me what Championship Auto Shows is.
Well, that's the series of shows that Pete Tundis owns and throughout the country here, and they're put on in various cities around.
So, do you work for them?
I work for Championship Auto Shows.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Okay.
Now, is this a full-time gig for you?
No, sir.
What do you do? What do you do, Steve? What is your purpose?
I am in quality assurance at an oil and gas company.
Quality assurance. Huh. So are you the director of other shows around the country? Or they just hire you for the Houston show?
I do Houston and Dallas.
Oh, and Dallas too.
Yes.
Here in oil country.
How in the world do you find time to shove this into your schedule?
Well, luckily for me, with my normal job, I've been there 25 years, so I have 6 weeks of vacation. So that's pretty much where all that goes.
Gotcha. Well, I know your wife is thrilled about that, but you do such a good job. It's funny. I run into Steve at Craig Bierman's house. I run into this guy all the time, and we don't hang out and smoke cigars together. I don't get it.
Well, we need to start then.
I guess we do.
Yeah, because I could see Houston. I mean, because we go to Houston all the time. I've never been to the one in Dallas, but
I have.
The things he's got to do here, he's got to do there, and I know he's got a pretty good crew here.
What's the Dallas show? When is that?
That show is the middle of February.
So you got a couple of 3 months in between.
No, he hasn't got anything. No. There's no time in between.
Well, I mean, from the actual opening of the show. So he's got to get from here to there, and he's got to do everything up there that he's doing here.
Yeah. So, in other words, I would imagine at this point in your life, you have 2 drafting tables, one for Houston and one for Dallas.
You're correct. Yes, I've got a mess here.
A mess.
So do you have, I know you got a crew here, Radar and all those guys. Do they go with you to Dallas, or is that completely a separate thing?
I have about 20 guys here in Houston that help me with the show for move-in. And when we go to Dallas, I take about 10 of them with me.
Okay, cool.
So in other words, what you're saying is that I don't have a chance.
Always looking for help.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I work with Vern Mayer. I guess he runs. He does some security for you as well.
Yes,
and has been doing it for a while. So I've known. Oh gosh, I've known Vern probably close to 30 years now. Small world.
It is a small world if you stop to think about it. Well, so when do you open the doors at George R. Brown Convention Center to get your stuff set up before everybody moves in?
Well, again, like I said, we're going to move in on Tuesday and Wednesday. And
no, I know that. I know that. That's the move in for us. But when do you pack your bag and go down there and set up your office?
I will be there Monday morning.
Okay, just check it.
So he gets a day's head start.
Yeah.
Yes.
He can set up his drafting tables in there. Yeah.
And then the show opens on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day.
That is correct. Thursday at 3.
3 o'clock. Okay.
Well, Steve, it's great talking to you. Thank you. And I know that we'll be seeing lots of each other in the next week.
Yes. Looking forward to it. We'll see y'all then.
All right.
All right.
Take care of yourself, man. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Autorama Chaos Director is what I put down here.
Well, he's going to be on the show. I'm sure we're going to interview him.
Yeah, if we can tie him down, he's in a golf cart going 90 miles an hour.
This is our time with him. He's out after this. We've got Larry's going to join us, and he's going to set us up with all of our interviews like he normally does. Always looking forward to that. All right. Well, racing season, as you know, is pretty much over with. Erica won the Pro Stock Championship. Thank
Awesome.
God. That's champion number
six.
Yeah.
World champion.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Yep.
And so, anyway, what else is there anything else going on?
F1 is this weekend in Vegas.
We were just talking about that off the air,
and I'm amazed that people don't learn from experience. And the F1 cars are sucking manhole covers off the ground. Well, I
think he ran over it. No, he actually hit it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not unknown that those are an issue. So I guess they repaved all of these streets in Las Vegas for the F1 race and screwed everybody up on the construction. Jeff, you were saying there's a lot of fussing about
who's
the money. Making the money.
Yeah, nobody's making the money.
It's not the locals making the money. It's the FIA.
It's a beautiful track layout. They showed an aerial shot of it all lit up at 2 o'clock in the morning because after the manhole incident, they went through the track and fixed all what they could. They continued to practice, and it was about 2:10 in the morning when they got back on the track. So they're zipping around.
Can you imagine paying $1,000 a night and at 2 o'clock in the morning?
But the city never sleeps. There's people that gamble, 24 hours. The city never sleeps. So it was part of the
Las Vegas experience.
Exactly. The glitz and the glamour. But there's not a lot of money to be made. They're saying that it's.
So pretty much the Drivers' Championship is settled. The Manufacturers' Championship, I believe, if it's not settled, it'll be settled in Vegas.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm pretty sure Red Bull is going to win the Manufacturers' Championship. Hope. And then next...
Red Bull doesn't make engines. They just sponsor the car.
They just sponsor
right.
Who's the car? Is it a Mercedes?
No. It's their own design car.
Red Bull.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They do racing. They do airplane racing. They do all kinds of stuff.
The amount of money they spend sponsoring in not just the motorsports world, but in the stunt world is remarkable. Yeah. So that $4 little can of Red Bull.
Never had one. I've never had a Red Bull.
Yeah, that little $4 can of Red Bull goes a long way.
I think it tastes like hell, and I don't care to have corns removed with Red Bull.
Corns removed.
Corns. You get corns on your feet and stuff.
Oh,
okay.
Soak your feet.
And then, so the next race is next weekend, and that's Abu Dhabi, and that's the finale for Formula One.
Well, there you go.
And that's.
I know Jeff is chomping at the bit to watch all of that.
I'm going to be glued to my radio.
As you should be.
Yes.
Listening to repeats of this particular show.
I will use bad words.
All right.
Hey, Karen. Time to get off your phone and do your car review now.
Karen.
Come on, Tony.
He looked, too.
Let's go, Tony.
He did look.
Who else is he going to be talking to?
Sorry,
talking about the Red Bulls and stuff. And so what else is he going to do?
So that's it for racing. There isn't much.
Right.
Thank God.
Yep.
Mr. Moore has got a new name, Karen.
Kona Karen.
Kona Karen.
I have a cousin named Karen that lives in California. Never met her, but I found her.
Oh, she okay.
Yeah.
Callie
She
Karen.
used to work for the same company I did.
Callie Karen.
Okay.
But instead of talking about that,
okay,
we're going to talk about the 2024 Subaru.
We're not doing a car
Crosstrek.
No, it's not your turn.
It's not your turn.
That's what you said.
I know
no, he didn't say that.
I know, but I was looking at you.
Well, that's why I wasn't ready.
Oh, okay. Well,
jumped ahead and changed things.
Hey, what's your name?
We can switch.
Ezekiel.
No. I'm going to put this back where it was.
Okay.
Put it back in the order it's supposed to be in.
Mike, we're just yanking your chain. What's Mike doing?
That's right. He's checking stuff.
Yeah, he's checking stuff.
Okay, I'm going to start mine with or without you.
Please.
And hold all your applause till the end.
I'm going to put a check here that you're done.
Hold all the applause till we're done. Okay, here we go. This is car museums in the U.S. you must visit. And, of course, everyone loves their cars. If you've got a museum in your state, go see it. Take the children out there
Excellent.
and enjoy it. But the first one is the American Car Museum in Tacoma, Washington. Howard LeMay died in the year 2000. He had the largest. Now get your in-wheel time
He didn't make
decoder,
suits, did he?
in-wheel time decoder ring, because there's going to be a question at the end. But LeMay, no, that was a different manufacturer. Died in 2000. He had the largest private car collection in the world. Upon his death, some of the collection were kept in private hands and others got shipped off to the American Car Museum, which is in Tacoma, and it was funded by the city of Tacoma to keep the cars in that state, which I think is very cool. 250 other vehicles are in the museum. They cover everything from the earliest motor vehicles like a 1913 Daimler Type 20 and other touring models just like that. Tickets are $22 for adults and $16 for children. Opening times may vary throughout the year. The next one we have here is the National Automobile Museum in Reno, Nevada. It's not as bright and glitzy as Las Vegas like we just talked about it, but a trip to Reno can be a huge amount of fun, especially when you get a face tattoo. The trip involves the National Museum. The museum is packed with lots of brilliant cars, including movie vehicles featured from the movie Titanic. Now, I thought that was about a ship, not a car. Vehicles owned by
I
Frank...
bet you they got that car where Kate Winslet is out there making out and got the windows all
Could
steamy.
be, could be.
They're more than making out.
Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley have cars in there, and there's other vehicles that you can look at by celebrities. There's hundreds of them to do. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for children. Other opening times throughout the year, but you have to buy the tickets directly from the museum. You can't get them scalped in Neaterville or anything like that. What? Yeah, you can't. So the next one is the Lane Museum in Nashville, Tennessee. If you love European vehicles, and who doesn't?
That's not a. That's an AJ Foyt car.
There you go. But it's one of the premier Euro museums in the country. The standard of the cars that you have, some experimental vehicles that probably shouldn't even seen the light of day. For an example, manufacturers spent a lot of time developing the microcar concept, and at this museum there is a ton of them to look at. They also have motorcycles, bicycles, other unique vehicles. The museum is closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's open from 10 to 5 every other day of the week. Entrance for adults is $12 and children are just $3. So that's a pretty good deal if you want to take your kids there, experience the automotive industry. The next one, everybody's got an opinion about this, is the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Well worth the trip.
No prize for guessing what type of vehicles are in this museum. If you want a massive collection of Corvettes covering the entire history of the brand, this is the place to be. If you can imagine a Corvette, it will be found here in this museum. Includes older Corvettes, newer models, and the entire museum is about preserving one of the best-known American vehicle brands around.
And it's right across from assembly plant.
Opening times may vary throughout the year, so check the official website. Tickets are $17 for.
We talked to that woman.
Got a little tour.
People over the age of 13, and if you're under 13, they're $12. In addition, it's $10 per person if you want to do the Corvette simulator. So that's a good one to do.
And there's
also
a section in there about Betty Skelton, George's aunt.
Okay, and here we go.
There's
Everyone's
the one to
favorite
visit,
is the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, California. Opinions are this is one of the coolest museums in the U.S., mostly because everyone's children at heart, and they feature an original Batmobile. So that's very cool. There are plenty of other exhibits in the Peterson Automotive Museum. They have exhibits dedicated to Porsche, Tesla, plenty of vehicles, film and television. The favorites here are the classic collections, oldest car collection in the U.S. Now, the other one from LeMay was the most. This is the oldest. Tickets are $19 for adults, between $10.95 and $12.95 for children. If your child's ugly, you pay more money. The museum is open daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that's what it is.
The ugliness?
I don't know, but the next one, are we running out of time?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, all right. Well, let's just go to. I'll just give you the verbal on that. You got Indianapolis is one of them, and of course Henry Ford.
Yes,
also.
Absolutely.
I like Henry Ford.
Love Henry Ford.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, the In-Wheel Time Car Talk show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com, and podcasts at your fingertips. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk show continues right after this quick break.
Houston's finest cars are invited to another Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, and you're invited too. Show off your personal pride and joy, or just stop in to see the likes of Lucid, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, and more. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. It all takes place Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon. This is the perfect opportunity to connect with other car enthusiasts. From BMWs to Bentleys, Corvettes to McLarens, the Car Social is a different kind of show. Talk to the owners. See Gulf Coast Auto Shield's facility. You'll be amazed. Put it on your calendar now. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. We'll see you then.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars. The ultimate lowrider showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics. See Lone Star Throwdowns, Texas-sized truck spread. And don't miss the traditional rod and custom section. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, see wild, high-flying freestyle motocross stunt shows. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend on the celebrity stage presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Friday, meet AEW Tag Team Superstars, the Lucha Bros. Saturday, it's Noel G, Hector from the Fast and Furious. Sunday, it's Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama, November 23rd through 26th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
Howdy, and welcome to the In Real Time Car Talk Show. What did you say, Mars?
He's
He
coming
just
in.
showed up.
All right. Well, from the palatial Sugar Shack Studios, it's the In Real Time Car Talk Show.
That was good.
Did you like that?
Yeah, you wrote that.
I did.
Can you
Coming
spell
in-
it?
Palatial. Palacial.
Better than me.
Okay. Coming up, Stephen Woodard, and we're going to have a spelling contest with him. He's with the Texas Department of Public Safety, also known as State Trooper. Mm-hmm. So, it's
Super Trooper.
She is super. There's a song about that. Conrad's going to have the In Real Time Car Clinic. We'll also have this week's automotive news. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. King Conrad along. We always need more Jeff Seekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us. We had a little ball of confusion there for just a moment because we had heard that he wasn't going to be able to join us but apparently he has gotten himself out of the staff meeting and now joining us. Is he there or not?
No, he's not here yet. He's trying to get in here.
I see. Okay, so we're just going to pause for just a second. We'll wait for him. He may or
There he is.
oh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Steve, State Trooper, Texas Department of Public Safety. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, we're doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. I tell you, I want to start off the program by saying
How much you love us?
Yeah, I do, and I'm thankful for you guys. And let me tell you why. So, Don, and this is not a cheesy Thanksgiving pun. I'm being serious here.
Okay.
So you reached out to me, man, some time ago. I want to say, looking back on my records, about 5 years ago, maybe longer. And you asked if I would come in studio and, just kind of share a little safety message. And this was after an incident. Me and you, of course, both were involved in, me, law enforcement side, you, the news media side.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been a part of your family, y'all's family, ever since.
Well,
So
you
I'm
are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank y'all for letting me share our little message. And I think you guys are a huge part in helping keeping Texas safe. All right, enough of the cheesy stuff. I'm done now.
Okay.
Well, hey, I might say something here. You talked about records, and I think a couple of these guys have one.
Yeah. Well, not that I'm aware of yet.
Well, we in real time love you, Blue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, did you guys know that? So AAA, and we know AAA is an insurance entity, but did you know that these guys are literally tasked to track traveling records? And AAA is telling us, not only for Texas, but across the nation, that for some odd reason, this Thanksgiving is going to be the busiest travel day
ever
in a decade.
Yeah.
How do they get to that?
Well, I think that they're guessing. There's a lot of pent up.
Everybody's been trapped for the last 2 years from COVID.
For that,
they want to get out and do
3
something.
or 4 years, yeah. And get in your car and get on the highway and go visit Aunt Mary wherever she may be. And, the other thing, back in my day, way back when, we had Thursday, Friday off for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We didn't have a whole week. All the kids have the whole week off now. So it leads to an opportunity for everybody to get on the road today or tomorrow and go to Aunt Mary's. Travel 500 miles. You can get there in a day. And
that's true.
And I remember trips kind of like that. As a matter of fact, a couple of them. In particular, going from Wisconsin down to Alabama to visit my Aunt Virginia and my mother's side of the family. And we had a great time. It was good times, and the weather wasn't too bad once we got out of Illinois and
Wisconsin.
Well, obviously Wisconsin, but it was good, and plenty of breaks along the way, and snacks and good times.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you guys are aware. We just finished. Well, they're in another session now, so some more new laws may be coming on the books. But after the first session, thousands of laws were submitted, and about 300 plus affected traffic. So we had a lot of new laws on the books. One thing that I will say, let me get started. What do y'all think about the whole Jimbo deal? I know this in the sports show, but I just what's your opinion?
I think he's making out like a king because they're still going to pay him $76 million, and he's fired. Fire me for $76 million.
Only a contract that Texas A&M would put out there. $75 million. You know where $75 million could go to help poor people, to buy us cars, sponsor the show?
He's not getting it in a lump sum. He's getting $7.25 million till the year 2031.
Oh, well, poor guy. That suck.
So it's all not big one lump sum. And I agree with y'all. It's
Are
outrageous.
you his agent?
No. Well, I tell you, Jimbo, nice man. He, we've been dealing with Jimbo since my son was in the 8th grade. Nice guy, but I think he made out on that one. But there was a payout. But I'm gonna tell you something else that's a payout. The electric vehicle. I'm gonna tell you why. So state law just entered into effect, and I had to go back and look at something real quick, and I want to make sure I had the number right. A $400 additional fee for the initial 2-year registration.
Yeah, we knew about that. Yeah, so if you want to register your EV, well, that's because there's no gas tax. There's no gas tax money off of an electric vehicle.
All right, so let's talk about it. So $200 additionally for, good grief, man, $200 each year.
Yeah.
I will tell you. So let's talk about that. What is the gas tax designed for?
Well, it's supposed to be designed for the roads.
Road improvement.
But that's not where it goes.
No, everybody's got their hand in the pie on that one.
Yeah, man. So at the end of the day, they're still going to get their crop on that. I will say this. I am not an electric vehicle fan yet, but I will tell you, we're starting to see some extremely safe features pertaining to those electric vehicles. I don't know where we're going with that, but
I can see you driving. I can see you driving a trooper car, an electric trooper car, dude. Nobody would be nobody would be able to beat you. Have you ever driven one? Have you ever been in one?
I have, and it was quite interesting.
Yeah,
I'm just saying to you, look, listen to me, and Mr. Mars knows where I'm going. The traffic stops on an electric vehicle are almost non-existent. I don't know if it's because of the safety feature. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the guy's letting the vehicle drive and he's just sitting back. But it's going to be interesting to see here in a couple of years. What I will tell you is the law book has changed several paragraphs up under the, automated motor vehicle. So we'll see where that leads us. One thing that I am happy about TxDOT now, state law says the TxDOT is now allowed to change speed limits at their leisure pertaining to weather, construction, etc. So this came about. You remember that unfortunate crash in Dallas where all those people were piled up during the actual ice storm?
And the 635 elevated or whatever.
There you go. So that's when that came in effect. So basically, state legislators said we're going to allow TxDOT to change signs by way of electronic signs. So that electronic sign will take over for the black and white sign, and they can reduce the speed automatically on the dime, which I think that will help as well. Another thing that is on the books, hey guys, we're getting rid of these paper plates.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of them. And I'm going to tell you something, crew. I'm not being mean or anything. We've been together for a long time, 5 years plus, and I try to shoot it straight. Most of the crimes that are happening in our community from coast to coast are from individuals with paper plates. Now, we changed the feature on the paper plate. We put a QR code on there. So if a trooper, police officer, deputy walks into a vehicle, they can actually scan the QR code and it'll tell us if the paper plate is in fact true. But you know what, state legislature says, you know what, we're done with them. We're done with the paper plates. We're going to do metal temp tags.
Oh,
now,
wow.
Don, you may have a connection. I don't know how that's going to work. It's not going to come into effect till early 2025, but they're in the process of printing, but I don't know how that expiration period is going to handle. What are you going to do with that metal plate? So, what are your thoughts on the metal plate? Is it a big deal or is it not?
Well, if you get a metal plate from
the
dealer, I think when your plates come in, you should have to turn that plate in.
It back in.
Go back.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah,
so that won't happen.
This one is for Conrad.
You're right.
Conrad, they put this law in the book just for you. No, look, you could not lane. Look, so lane splitting. What is lane splitting?
Driving on the white line.
Driving in both lanes at once.
Yeah.
Particularly for our motorcycle operators.
Yeah.
So we never theoretically had anything on the books for that. I mean, we would just stop a guy for failing to maintain in a single lane. But now the state law is updated, and this program is so bad, Don's leaving. So they updated the actual law book and put lane splitting on the books. So it's most definitely on the books, and it's a violation of the law. But here's the deal. As a trooper, and I've been doing this for a while, if a guy lane splits, how in the world I'm going to catch him?
Yeah.
True.
So it just all boils down to if a crash ensues. A lot of laws implemented for our motorcycle operators. State law says this. For a motorcycle rider, they can have ground effect lighting. The ground effect lighting can only be amber or white, non-flashing. But it doesn't say anything about a passenger or regular vehicle ground effect lighting. So right now, we're still allowed to kind of, diddy up our cars and make them look good with ground effect lighting. But the only individuals that fall up under the umbrella, of course, are motorcycles. Amber or white, non-flashing. What are your thoughts on that?
I've never been a fan of the ground effect lighting. I think in some instances, a lot of people that do it are these people that have these huge lifted trucks, and they're driving down the highway to show off what is under their truck and all the money they spent on the lift kits.
Or whatever color.
But I think it interferes with the drivers around you, because all of a sudden you get this light that, you're trying to figure out what that is because it's unusual. So, it can distract you because you're going to turn your head and look at it.
That's interesting, because that was the topic yesterday on my little radio program in Brenham, the distraction to the newer drivers. So we'll see where we go with that as a state. I will say I do lean on AAA's advice and their stats, and obviously I'm going to be out tomorrow, and then of course I'll be out the day before Thanksgiving, just kind of monitoring, etc. But I want folks to be careful. Yeah. I think this is going to be a really, really good holiday season. There are plans implemented in place especially for the Houston, Harris County area, to make it a safe shopping season. If you can, especially for people that are shopping in a single formation. It's always best to shop in numbers, but when you're parking your car, try to park in well-lit areas. Try to shop in numbers, and if you can, park as close to the door as possible.
And pay attention to your surroundings.
Yeah, pay attention. Put all of the gifts that you're going to buy me, put them in the trunk. And look, make sure, here's the deal, and I've never mentioned this on this program, but I'm going to today. Know and remind your wives, your daughters, your sons, have them remember where they park. If you have to take a picture of the pole and the number, do it, because we want you to get to and from not only the store and your car safely, but back from the store and home safely.
No, good idea. Good idea.
What I will say is a lot of folks are taking off this week. Please enjoy the holiday season responsibly. And if you go to the several holiday parties that are going to be offered out to all of us, please make sure you have a designated driver. And if you are going to drink, please be mindful and watch out for that. You should know, what you're able to do, but overall, don't drink and drive.
Amen, brother.
If you're hosting a party, we're asking folks, have more of an option than just alcoholic beverages. If you can have soda pop, or if you can have water or juice on hand, have something else as an option for the drinker and the non-drinker.
Yeah.
And man, I think we all speak together collectively. Let's have a safe holiday season, because we need it. We really need it.
I want to back up. You talked about the electric cars. There is a feature. My boss has a Tesla, and I've ridden with him. There's a feature in the Tesla that when you're at a traffic light and it's red, and people get on their phones and they text and all that stuff, but when the light turns green, the car dings. It goes ding. That means the light's green, and you look up and you go. That should be a feature on every car, truck, everything.
Yeah,
I got one. It's called the horn button.
It's a very cool feature.
Well, I heard the state legislature passed a law for electric car drivers. They have to have a current license.
Oh.
Okay. All right, George.
Sorry.
So let me ask you, how many times a day do you? So you're in a large SUV, right? Whenever you're out.
Well, you know what? They put me in I'm sneaking around now. Now I'm in an unmarked vehicle, where I can kind of be a little sneaky nowadays. So I'm in a regular passenger vehicle and it's unmarked.
Okay.
And Don, I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't be able to know. You would think it's grandma driving, but when these red and blues come on, then you'll know.
Yeah.
Are
the red and blues behind the windshield?
But yeah, they're at the top of the windshield and then in the back glass. But here's the deal, guys. It's a 6-cylinder. I ain't catching you.
Well, I was just wondering more or less about how much gas you use a day, and then kind of relate that to an EV, because sooner or later somebody's going to dump an EV on you.
Hey, you never know. All of our fleet as troopers, all 4,000 troops across the state, typically they're all driving around in Tahoes. There are a few Dodge Durangos out there. That's typically for your troops up north, for the 4-wheel drive capabilities. But man, they get some good gas mileage, so that's why we have them.
Hey, Steve, I want to ask you a question that's not related to any of that stuff. Have you ever thought about becoming a Texas Ranger?
Interestingly, people have asked me that. I'm gonna tell you, Don, I really love what I do. The Rangers, again, they're a huge part of Texas history and law enforcement history. They handle all of our, white collar crimes, any corrupt politicians. For your small towns like Sealy, or you go to a little small town out west, they don't have a homicide detective. Well, the Ranger helps them out with that. Okay. And it seemed extremely interesting, but I just really love being with the community, getting down and dirty with the community.
Well, let's just face the facts, Steve. You're damn too old now.
All right, you got me.
Yeah, if you're going to do a Ranger thing, you would have had to done that a few years back.
Hey, if Jetter can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. Well, the Texas Ranger is also involved if there's a police shooting somewhere,
yes,
and they don't have internal affairs and more sophisticated personnel in the police department, then the Texas Rangers step in. I know I've seen them on many homicide and that sort of thing, but I thought I'd ask because the step clearly is you become a DPS officer, and then you move on to become a Texas Ranger. There's a process, and it's not easy. I can tell you that.
Or an in-wheel time bodyguard.
Yeah, there's that.
Hey, there you go. That's it.
So, are you working all week next week?
Yeah, I am. I have a little. My son, he has his little playoff game today here in a few minutes. My oldest son, he's playing at College Station, so my wife, she's up there doing that, and I'm down here with the little one. So, hey, man, once I'm done with this, I'm going to get to work with the family and just try to enjoy the weekend. You know what I mean?
So what's your son's opinion of the Jimbo deal?
You know, again, he liked Jimbo. He loved Jimbo, but, you know, he understands it's business. It's truly business. And that's just how it is, man.
Well, let me just say this. It's all about recruiting.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at what Nick Saban has done. He couldn't do it for the recruiting guys. And they go out, they get these guys, and have built that thing up to unbelievable power. And it's all about recruiting.
And it's a machine because it keeps rolling because the recruiting
it does.
continues
But, I mean, obviously, being the head coach, he's kind of in charge of all that stuff. So there you go. Just a tip for the next coach up there at Texas A&M. And stupid contract money. Oh, my God. Oh, well, we didn't want him to go to LSU. Well, go to LSU.
I'm going to predict something. I'm going to think it's going to be Coach Woodard.
Coach Woodard. That's it.
Hey, that's like, hey, Don, that's just like that coach over there at LSU. They said, hey, man, your job's done. We're going to pay you this amount of money. He said, which door do you want me to walk out of?
And that's just it.
It's a money thing.
They said that was the first 10-year contract through a college for a coach. No school is going to ever do that again.
Steve, it's great to talk to you, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. We love you. Stay safe, and have a great holiday if we don't talk to you before then.
God bless you.
Hey, I love y'all too, man. I'm thankful for you. Happy Thanksgiving. And fellas, I'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Be safe.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care. All right. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. Before we get to that, I want to remind you, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email anytime. Our address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Conrad's Car Clinic. What are we doing today?
Police cars. Kind of interesting segue here.
Yep.
You know, and talk about, what kind of police cars there are. You know, there's the Cruiser, the Interceptor, the black and white patrol car, area cars, prowl cars, squad cars. And they're all vehicles that start as a regular production car and evolve into a police car. Those, ones that people look at that are quite famous are the Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, which is actually a variant of the Ford Crown Victoria. But if you've ever really looked at one, you'll notice that the rear doors are longer on the police one because they use the chassis.
Used to be.
It used to be because they used the chassis of a Lincoln Continental and put the Crown Vic body on top of it, and it gave them more room for
they don't
suspects.
accommodate prisoners in the back anymore. Right. No, you get in there and you're all balled up on those plastic seats, hard plastic seats. With
I wouldn't know that.
Cuffs behind you. Oh, I've seen the cop car.
Know that.
I've never been there.
No,
well, actually, I have been. And they weren't hard plastic.
But no, these are hard plastic seats.
And the seat bottom comes out real easy, so if you're dropping something down there, you shouldn't have.
No, it does not. There's nothing to come out.
The Ford started with police cars back in the 30s when they came out with the flathead V8, first mass-marketed car, low price, mass-marketed. Ford became very popular with police establishments around the country because the car was faster than most everybody else that was out there. And starting in the 40s, most major automobile manufacturers began to manufacture specialized police cars. If you remember, it wasn't too long ago, GM had the PPV, which actually ended up becoming the SS Impala. So some unique things about those vehicles. Stephen Woodard was just talking about the Durango. Stellantis had the Charger Pursuit, which is still a popular car. A lot of upgrades to those vehicles were very common. They generally always had an updated cooling system, an upgraded charging system on them. always had the heavy-duty suspensions, usually had the high-performance engines that were available at the time. So lots of those components that made a police car were available to the public. You just had to know the option codes to order to get that same car. But if you go way back into the 70s and stuff, the police package itself had a lot of extra bracing and stuff under if you open the
Still
hood.
do.
Had a lot of extra bracing in it, just because if it was involved in an impact, they wanted to make sure they were protecting the driver of the vehicle. So the Police Interceptor utility now has become quite popular, which is a version of the Ford Explorer. And if you ever drive behind one, it looks like a Ford Explorer, but the name on the back of it says Interceptor. They're marketing the police cars as well.
And if you want one that's easy to buy, just buy a used one out of the police or the
Auctions.
city auctions.
Right. But we had that guy on from the auctions.
I know somebody that actually has got one. He drives it every day. It's a black and white. Nothing on the doors. It's just black and white. And of course,
Makes
they get
everybody
all.
flinch.
Everybody flinch. But it's got the beefed up engine, suspension, all the stuff in it.
Cool.
So, they always have upgraded tires, upgraded transmissions. One of the other things that the police departments can order is one key. One key works in every police car of that brand. So if you're driving, everybody's driving Tahoes. Now, I was going to ask Sergeant Woodard this. His key will work in any Tahoe, most likely, and that's just for speed of access for any of the officers. But there are other cars that are out there. There's the unmarked car, which Woodard said he was in. There's the ghost car, dog police, decoy cars, surveillance cars. Here in Houston, one of those, what I'll call ghost cars, is that white Camaro, and it actually has police ghosted into the side of it, and that's just to kind of draw little attention, but still have the police car effect with the lights behind the windshield and behind the rear glass. So, we're going to do a little bit more on police cars over the next couple
I think we
of weeks.
should. Yeah, exactly. I got a couple of things here for Jeff at our news stories this week.
All right.
Cadillac said Friday it will reveal the Optic, a new entry-level electric nameplate next year. The brand confirmed the Optic compact crossover will slot below the midsize Lyriq, its first electric vehicle, and serve as the gateway to Cadillac's upcoming all-electric portfolio in North America. GM luxury brand released images of the Optic on Friday and said it would share more details, including features and pricing, when it's formally revealed next year.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna share
if the upcoming $340,000 Cadillac Celestiq feels too pedestrian, Neiman Marcus is offering one for nearly triple that amount. The one-of-one Cadillac Carmen Celestiq is priced at $975,000.
Christmas is coming.
It's the most expensive of 8 fantasy gifts in the 2023 edition of the department store's annual holiday catalog. The buyer and a guest will receive a 2-day trip to watch the car being hand-built at Cadillac's Artisan Center in suburban Detroit.
There you go.
The purchase includes a meeting with brand designers, a tour of Cadillac House on the campus of GM Global Technical Center, private tour of a notable Detroit landmark institution, probably Ford, with a docent or historian, a multi-course dinner from a renowned Detroit chef, and a stay at a luxury boutique hotel.
All for $900,000.
$975,000. Cadillac also will donate $25,000 of the purchase price to the Detroit Opera House. Other Neiman Marcus fantasy gifts include a $510,000 Disney animation experience, a $485,000 yachting treasure hunt through Indonesia, and a $210,000 trip to the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris.
Send your Neiman Marcus gift cards to info@inwheeltime.com.
Quick break now. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show.
Houston's finest cars are invited to another Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, and you're invited too. Show off your personal pride and joy, or just stop in to see the likes of Lucid, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, and more. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. It all takes place Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon. This is the perfect opportunity to connect with other car enthusiasts. From BMWs to Bentleys, Corvettes to McLarens, the Car Social is a different kind of show. Talk to the owners. See Gulf Coast Auto Shield's facility. You'll be amazed. Put it on your calendar now. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. We'll see you then.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars. The ultimate lowrider showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics. See Lone Star Throwdowns, Texas-sized truck spread. And don't miss the traditional rod and custom section. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, see wild, high-flying freestyle motocross stunt shows. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend on the celebrity stage presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Friday, meet AEW Tag Team Superstars, the Lucha Bros. Saturday, it's Noel G. Hector from the Fast and Furious. Sunday, it's Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 23rd through 26th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
And the In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too.
The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupi's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggie Land? Head to the Lupi Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Lupi Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere.
From the Sugar Shack Studios in Texas, USA, it's the In Real Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we were going to speak with Michael Satterfield. We're going to have to reschedule him because he's got something going on, and we obviously are at the bottom of the importance list.
Just saying.
Well, I mean, you know,
he has priorities. And
maybe his wife chopped off her toe or something. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
We'll have the upcoming events calendar. Mars reviews the new Subaru Crosstrek. I think we're going to do that this time. Mars. And later, the U.S. News and World Report on automotive brand award winners. Plus, you'll hear the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the Hemmings.com car sales for the week. But before we get to that, what?
No, he's got to get a scorecard.
I've got my scorecard ready.
All right, well, before we get to that, this is a story from Hemmings. They're calling it the Great Reset in the commercial property sector. In the fine art world, they're using the term contraction. And here in the collector car world, we might just want to call it a reality check, as prices for our beloved vehicles are coming back down to earth after years of a historic run-up. The story by Terry Shea of Hemmings.com.
Wow.
Whatever you want to call it, certain asset classes are experiencing a market correction reflecting greater economic factors and uncertainties. Collector cars are square in the middle of that mix, with an average sale price at both live and on sale online auctions down some 17% in October 2023 compared to a year ago, according to Classic.com. The pullback in average values followed an 18% drop in September 23 in terms of year-over-year values. The same set of aggregate data released by Classic.com showed a sell-through rate of just 62% for October, a drop of 4 points from the prior year, and significantly below the rates of 2019, 2020, and 2021. The net sell-through rate at Hemmings Auctions was 62% in October 2023 versus 68% in October 2022. Despite that decrease, overall sales via the platform increased 8%, given the higher overall volume of vehicles offered. First of all, not all the news is bad. Overall sales volume is up for the year, but they're just not getting as much money for them all. Through October, 1.9% drop in that volume compared to last year, blah, 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 blah. It's 2023. We live in a great time when it comes to staying informed, and there are many tools available online to get the latest read on the value of your collector car. You can search for sold listings on Hemmings, which will show you vehicles sold via Hemmings auctions and Hemmings make offer.
Well, that would make sense. As prices go down, sales go up. People are out bargain shopping.
Yeah.
But that's Hemmings. That's not all the other auctions that you see.
And just as a point, we're going to Autorama next weekend. Then we got John Gray's social the first weekend in December. One of those two following weekends, Jonathan Shaw, president of Hemmings, is going to join us.
Really?
Oh, very cool.
Just trying to figure out. It's going to be one of those 2 weekends. Just waiting on him.
Oh, that'd be great. All right, so let's do this week's Hemmings sold cars.
Let me get my thinking cap on.
Get your thinking cap on.
No.
This is a beautiful red, looks like restored Chevrolet Corvette from 1962. It is a roadster.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not going to show you the price, but I am going to show you. I'll show you the car.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Okay.
Yep.
Now we don't know under the hood conditions. I don't know all of that. This is not the point. The point is, what do you think a 62 Chevy Corvette would sell for on Hemmings auctions?
45,
65,
39,
$78,750.
That's what I said. 78.
Yeah. I really didn't go through these. And actually, I don't even know if this is a real honest-to-God car. It says here, a 1934 Mercedes-Benz 500K. Never heard of it? It looks like it may be a kit car, but it sold for $18,900. I'm just going to throw that in there. I didn't go through these and point them out or anything. Here's one for you, Conrad. And actually, I'd kind of like to have this car. A 1982 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Royale.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why. There's something attractive to me about
My
it.
dad had an 88 Royale.
What do you think that car sold for?
In killer shape.
Well, it's
$8,000.
not a okay. It's not a restored thing. It's not something that everybody would drive.
Yeah. I'd say maybe $8,000.
I would say 6.
I'm going to go 82.
Oh, come on, now get real.
88, 85.
Okay, well, if you want to do that,
yeah.
It sold for $14,700.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly. And it looks like it. It looks like it was off the used car lot. I mean,
like his Jeffrey the Ding.
Fenders are straight and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe some.
He was $1.
Here is
I just want to beat you.
Drew, I wanted $1.
Put your mind back. 1956 Ford Fairlane 500.
Two-door or four-door?
It's a two-door convertible.
Fairlane 500.
All right, and it's pink and white.
Oh.
Coral and white.
Okay, whatever you want to call it.
23.
It's a pretty car. It's not something that I would buy. It'd be something that you would offer up your grandmother.
Retractable hardtop?
No, I don't.
Tell?
No, it's not a retractable hardtop. It's
I'd
none
say,
of that.
I'd say
It's got
60.
rear fender skirts on it. Okay,
60.
Mars. What,
28.
Jeff?
All right, I gave mine.
23.
I gave mine 23.
54.6, which sounds right to me. I don't know. It looks like it's a complete restoration. Look, it's clean. It's not something that I'd want. Here's one that I just cannot do a four-door. Cannot do it. Just can't.
Wow.
A 1956 Chevy Bel Air four-door. It looks like it actually looks better than it did when it rolled off the showroom floor. What do you think that it is? Now, I don't know about rust. Looks like a relatively new paint job, two-tone, black wall tires, wheel trim rings. It's nice. Chrome's all polished up.
30.
30?
What year again, Don?
1956 Chevy Bel Air four-door. Mars?
18.
I was going to say 17.
24,150. And I could see that. Yeah.
That's all the money there.
There you go. There's a picture of it, so you have an idea. Okay, here's one that they,
good looking.
You
car.
hear of this thing, patina. Are you kidding? It's a sun-faded,
Patina stands for
rusted-out thing.
Painted over rust.
And I'm sorry, it just doesn't appeal to me. It's not for me. And it's lowered, and I'm
What
sure.
kind of car?
That's a '62 Ford F100. Okay, and I know that they're popular. I know that look is popular, and you go on to open the hood, and it's all dinged out, swelled out with chrome, and all pretty and everything. Probably a new suspension, all that. What would you think?
25.
12.
I'm going to say 21.
Really? How about 61,950? Not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
No. If you're going to pay that kind of money, I want a stupendous paint job on it.
And four doors.
Want one from Paint House.
Here's one that really, really surprises me. Put your mind to 1978. Okay? Think of a
Ford
1978 Chevrolet Camaro. Okay? That has Z28 badging on it. It still doesn't have any horsepower. If that's a true engine in it, there's no horsepower. It looks like it has Pontiac Firebird wheels on it, the gold things.
Oh,
right?
honeycomb?
Yeah, kind of.
But that was the last year of the second generation Camaro.
White letter tires, painted bumpers, spoilers, a Z28 look on it. What would you think a black one would go for?
14,
With no horsepower.
78. 78.
Well, I'm going to say right there, you're too low. Way too low.
Seriously?
That's what I said. That's why I'm bringing it
31. I'm going to say 31.
22.
Conrad?
23.
42,520. It's got to have some sort of motor or something in it.
Well, either that or you got a mullet.
Here's this, ladies and gentlemen, is a Conrad car, okay? A 1965 Chrysler Imperial Crown.
Oh, that's anybody's
convertible.
Wow.
This thing is massive. I think this is the street, and they're just showing a picture of a car on it because
I think that car takes up 3 zip codes.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it did the day it was born. All right? It's not modified, that I can tell in any way. A 65 Chrysler Imperial Crown. Mars, go.
I would 15,000.
Really?
I don't have a clue. I'm just thinking convertible.
24.
62.
$33,075. Now I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty because we're running out of time here.
Well, we got nothing but time.
I know. It's so big, I think it's a 2-door, but I might be wrong. 64 Pontiac Grand Prix, so it's a 2-door.
Okay.
All right. 64 Pontiac Grand Prix. It looks completely stock, looks like it's been resprayed, but that's it. Nothing fancy about it. Stock wheels.
Put me down for 17.
17. Okay. Mars?
I'm trying to remember what it looked like.
It has the stacked headlights, vertical headlights.
Like the Riviera. It's what keeps coming to my mind.
Okay, well.
No, but yes.
Here you go. You ready? There you go. It's up on the top. They didn't even take a decent picture of it. It's under a carport.
Oh, like a big Bonneville.
Yes, but a 2-door, so it's a Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go, Mars.
15.
15. Conrad?
25.
And Jeff?
I had 17.
$4,200.
It's a good buy on that car.
We don't know what it looks like underneath.
And you get the carport with it.
I'm going to pass the 64 Corvair. I'm not even reading that.
Oh, that's priceless. Priceless.
Here you go, Jeff. Chevy Caprice Classic Wagon, 1989. No horsepower.
$35
Looks stock.
million.
It's got custom wheels on it. Looks stock, though. Looks like it's
Millions.
a 2-tone. How much? Conrad?
18.
18?
12.
What year
12?
again?
An 89 Chevy Caprice Classic Wagon.
Gutless wonder.
Uh-huh.
$6,000.
Roadmaster.
$6,000.
Buick
Jeff,
Sullivan.
you win $4,500. $4,500.
I want 2.
Then you'd have one.
What color is it?
Mars,
Oh,
this
it's pretty.
is the new in-wheel time vehicle here.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
A 1961 Ford F-250 with a camper on the back of it.
Does the camper leak?
Well, that's the trick.
If it's there, yes.
It's dressed in white. There it is.
That's pretty. I like it.
Mars, we take it down to John. He can do the graphics on it.
You got a space for your walker and everything.
It's a shaggin' wagon.
It is a shaggin' wagon.
Put a little sign on it.
Okay, how
service.
much? How much?
Um,
Okay, I'm going to give you a hint.
15.
I was going to say 15.
Here's the hint. Okay, you could sell your truck, put cash in your pocket, and buy this rig right here.
$8,000.
6. Going back to 6.
$11,550 can be yours if the price is right. There you go.
Yeah, then you just need to buy a record. All
right,
around.
I'm going to move on here. You remember the car that Stan gave us last year to put in the booth?
Oh, yeah. 38.
This is a 39 Buick Roadmaster with wide whites, and it's even got the yellow fog lights on it. Looks all stock, fresh paint and all that. How much do you think that car is going for here?
32.
40.
61.
16. 16. It's a gangster
It had
car.
a 6 in it, so I win.
I'm just going to blow through this. You ready? No, I'm not either. 1978 Chevrolet Corvette pace car. The Indy pace car.
Way more than it's worth. Doesn't matter what they gave for it. Way more than it's
Too
worth.
much.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm going to say 32.
So this is the black silver bottom?
Yep.
Yeah.
23.
32.
I'll go.
Not what it's
I'll go
worth, what it's sold
35.
for.
18.9. It has no horsepower.
Yeah.
I think let's see. It would be, I think, about 180 horsepower.
And there's a zillion of them out there, and people were buying them and putting them in storage and thinking they bring them out 20 years later and sell them and make a killing. No, ain't happening.
And people took their decent Corvette and put that paint job on it and put those front and rear spoilers on it and called it a pace car. Still a gutless wonder. Jeff, for you, sir.
All
From
right.
somebody who had a 77 gutless one.
Oh, God, it was.
That's why he can talk about it.
But hey,
It was the Weezer.
the Weezer, that's right. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it weren't for that car. Be my guest.
For those that don't know, behind the camera, there's actually a big picture of the Corvette with all
That
the
Bill
details.
Sykes drew.
Yeah.
Bill Seitz.
Sights. But it's behind the camera.
Yes.
We'll bring that out.
1985 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz. Convertible.
Priceless. I'm thinking priceless.
Convertible.
I'm thinking-
Bright red
And
with a
it's
white
red.
top?
Red. I don't know. I think the top is red as well.
Nah, I got to
That's
be
a
white.
Hess and Eisenhart convertible. It's not a factory vert.
17. And I know that's a way off. 17.
22.
Mars?
Yeah, I would go 24 then.
Jeff? 15,166. There you
Oh,
go.
I want
Could be yours.
Christmas is coming, folks.
Yeah, that,
Look
that,
at that.
and a
Oh,
raincoat, because that thing had leaked like a sieve.
No, not necessarily. No. It didn't leak. The ones I drove didn't leak.
Usually,
No. New.
yeah, it looks brand new. You could have had that car.
But that's not a factory convertible. That was a aftermarket convertible.
Whatever.
Whoever,
You know,
yeah.
only you could pop the bubble on
I know.
anything. You know
Why
that?
would you do? Yeah.
All right, here you go. I don't know who this is for. We could have it as the company car.
There you go.
A 1954 Willis. What you
What you
talking
talking about, Willis?
We'll get that one to David. This is David's.
M38A1.
This is David.
That's like the big half track.
No,
almost.
sir. It's the Army Jeep
Yeah.
from Korea that they had in MASH,
yeah.
which looked like World War II, but it wasn't. So this is a 54 Willis M38A1. How much would, and it's all dressed up as an Army vehicle, what would you think that would bring?
30.
8,500.
18.
16,000.
Wow.
You cannot drive it on the highway because
You
the
crush
gearing,
things.
the gearing is such that,
It's
well,
got
there
a
it is.
50 caliber machine gun.
No, it's got none of
mounted
that
in the
stuff on it. It's
No,
not that at all. It's the gearing in the thing. It's
And
you know,
there, and
it's like it's trying to run a 411 down the highway.
I would think like a
With a
488 or
four-cylinder,
something.
with a four-cylinder.
But I would
yeah.
think that there's really a lot of them out there. Is the reason they really don't. You think, oh, that's one of the early Jeeps. They don't bring.
Well, they
much
made
around.
500,000 of them.
The
Yeah,
World War
and they're all
II
over the
Jeeps
place.
are rare, and if you've ever seen one, I got to see one. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether you were with me or not, but it was a Chrysler Corporation preview, something that I flew out to, and they had it in this old warehouse, and it was completely restored by Chrysler, and it looked like it rolled right off the assembly line, and it looked very much like that one. It was very cool, but it still had that Bantam 4-banger in it.
Yeah.
And when they started it,
sounded
like that car. Yeah. Anyway,
they don't fly you guys around anymore, do they?
I guess they probably do some, but we don't rank anymore.
Well, they do some, and
they
and
rank
we just,
all right.
Yeah,
I've got a full-time job. I can't do that.
That's the problem. We kind of stepped back from that because we couldn't, and they kind of dropped us from the list. Well, if y'all can't go, we're going to quit inviting you. You know, It's kind of like asking out the pretty girl that keeps telling you no. Sooner or later, you're going to forget.
Yeah.
But Don won one.
Well, but how many did he have to ask? I mean, look at his age and how much time he's had to look.
We're going there again, aren't we?
No, we didn't.
Sorry.
That was a compliment. That was an out-and-out compliment. That wasn't a cut. He said the pretty girl. And you won one.
Now they're crawfishing on that one there.
Yeah, they're backing up. All right, so how about the events calendar, Conrad? We're moving on. The events calendar.
Cypress Cars and Coffee at 27.
This is not a cruise-in thing.
No. But Cypress Cars and Coffee
Well,
is
the first thing on the events calendar
December
would be
16th.
would be next weekend's
Autorama World of Wheels, Cavalcade of Customs,
Yes.
George R. Brown, starting
Thursday.
Thursday, Thanksgiving afternoon, and running through Sunday.
Correct. Thank you.
And then Houston Performance Driving, Cars and Cocktails at Sawyer Park Ice House on Pruitt Road in Spring.
At the track.
No, not at the track. Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals is tomorrow in Chicago, which is always a huge event.
Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals.
In Chicago.
In Chicago at Thanksgiving.
MACAN. Yeah, no, it's always Thanksgiving week.
Is it an indoor event, I hope?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, indoor with armed security, I imagine. I couldn't imagine parking your trailer in Chicago
where is it?
somewhere. Downtown in one of the convention centers. But it's
Wow,
been,
well, that convention center in Chicago is massive.
Yep. And this is a big show. This is, everybody brings their cars.
Okay.
So.
Not everybody, because we've
The
got our
smart
own
ones are
custom
at
car
Autorama.
show here at Autorama, where it's going to be nice.
Okay.
All right, so what else? Is that it?
That's it. Back to you, Don.
Over to Mike.
Mike,
you got a...
remember back in the day when you told me that you were going to do a review of the Subaru Crosstrek, and I goaded you into getting all the papers out last hour? Remember that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now it's time.
Now it's
You need to
time.
put on a different headset, and now it's time for you to actually do it. No, you need to put on a headset so we can hear you. There you go.
There we go. Rattle it around while you put it on.
All right. I was trying to get John Vincent set up here for us.
All right, John can
Well,
wait.
John's just going to have to
gonna-
hold
on, John.
Hold on,
Yeah,
John.
don't take the
stand there.
blame for this, John. This is all on Mars.
Again.
Talk amongst yourselves, John.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Limited.
Do you guys see what trouble this is for me to kind of wrangle all this together?
Herding cats.
I work all week long trying to gather all the information, work with Mars on the guests, trying to make it all make sense and flow smoothly. But it never does. And we've been doing this for 11 and a half years.
12, isn't it?
No, sir, it's 11 and a half. Well,
Whatever.
Take your shoes off
Been a
and
long
recount it.
time.
May the 7th, 2011.
Okay, we're out of time on that
He
one.
can get to 12. He's got 6 toes on each foot.
God. Okay, I'm going to start over. We're going to talk about the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Limited.
No, you are, not we.
I'm going to talk about the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Limited that's been redesigned for 2024. And it comes in 5 trim levels: a base, premium, sport, limited, and the new wilderness that we talked about earlier in the show. I happen to be driving the limited edition, So this is their small crossover SUV. Now, they've done a few things to clean it up or make it a little newer in 2024.
Cleaned it up.
I do like, what I like about the Crosstrek in particular, it's got a high roof line, and the cabin space seems like it's long because of the SUV styling of it. It just seems like it's got a lot of room in it, but it's not a real big vehicle. And I just love the visibility. I feel like I can see everything all the way around me. Now, up front, you're going to find it's got the heated windshield. It's got automatic headlamps and LED lighting, including the fog lamps. Got heated side mirrors. It's got a lot of things for cold weather because this is a vehicle that a lot of people use up north where there's a lot of snow. And so it's kind of got some things for them that doesn't mean a whole lot to us down here in Houston. Rolling on some nice 18-inch alloy wheels. Inside, because it's the Limited, it is the leather seating. The front seats are heated. The rear seat folds down. Has an 11.4-inch monitor center stack. So this is a nice big monitor in the middle of the dash so that you can see things, find your nav, your convenience controls. There's a wireless phone charger down below that. Had front and rear USB-C and A. Now, the one thing I noted, the audio system in this thing, it's easy to use, but there's only 6 speakers. So it doesn't, some of the systems we run across that have got these higher end, top of the line trim levels, they got 10, 12, 14 speakers with woofers, and they got amps and all kinds of things to really make it stand out. It works fine. It just wasn't what I was expecting once you see all the electronics that's in this vehicle. Now, there's 2 engines available. This one comes with a 2.5 liter Boxer type engine in it. And it does 182 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque. Now, this is backed by the CVT with the manual shift mode, paddle-type shifter, or paddle shifters, that we were kind of talking about that earlier.
Yep, we were.
I didn't see much use to it. To me, the CVT worked fine just like it was. They've done really well on making them things work. And trying to put it into the manual mode, for one thing, there's not that much power there. So it wasn't really... I didn't see advantage to it. Let me just leave it at that. Now, this EPA says you should be looking at 26 miles per gallon in the city, 33 on the highway, 29 combined. I drove this vehicle 352.6 miles and got 27.8 out of it.
That's pretty good.
I thoroughly thought that was great.
Yeah.
A lot of it was city, so there wasn't a lot of miles out on the highway. And I will say that this is not the fastest vehicle you're going to find. That 2.5 liter Boxer engine does fine.
This is not a race car.
It's not a race car. It will provide you with all the power you need for a vehicle of this size. In fact, I have a friend in town that's got one that's a year older, and he just got back off of a 3,000-mile trip up through Kentucky.
I had a sister-in-law that had one as well. She loved it.
Yeah, loved it. I asked him, and he said, yeah, it was great. So it's pretty easy handling. It's got a very acceptable ride, whether you're in the city or out on the highway. And again, it's not a race car, and it's not a big luxury floater car, so it's a good driving vehicle. Now, I will say the base trim price, or the base model price for this, is $26,290. So you can get into a Crosstrek pretty cheap if you get into the stripper model. Base trim price is $30,895. As tested, it was $34,635 on the MSRP. So if you're looking for something to compare this to, you might look at the Ford Bronco Sport, which is going to be a little more money, baseline at $31,230. Or you can get more down into the Chevy Trailblazer that starts out at $23,100, the Mazda 630 at $24,995, or even the Jeep Compass is out there at $28,400. So there's several of them that are all right there in the same package. But the Subaru comes with all-wheel drive that some of these other vehicles don't come with at that price. So if you're looking for something that's got a lot of features on it, like all-wheel drive, a lot of safety features, heated windshield, and some other things, this is a vehicle that you want to look at as you're doing your shopping.
Mm-hmm. And Subaru customers are rabidly loyal customers.
When we were in the UP this past August, they're everywhere. Those cars are everywhere.
Yeah, they're very popular up north. Used to, back in the 60s or 70s, Volvo was kind of that way. They kind of came in and everybody
And after you bought all the sweaters that have the leather patches and the pipe that you smoked
I still
while
got
you were
one
doing-
jacket that's that way.
I still have a sweater like that. I wear it occasionally.
Time now for a quick break here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. More just ahead.
Houston's finest cars are invited to another Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, and you're invited too. Show off your personal pride and joy, or just stop in to see the likes of Lucid, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, and more. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. It all takes place Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon. This is the perfect opportunity to connect with other car enthusiasts. From BMWs to Bentleys, Corvettes to McLarens, the Car Social is a different kind of show. Talk to the owners. See Gulf Coast Auto Shield's facility. You'll be amazed. Put it on your calendar now. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. We'll see you then.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama! At the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars. The ultimate lowrider showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics. See Lone Star Throwdowns, Texas-sized truck spread. And don't miss the traditional rod and custom section. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, see wild, high-flying, freestyle motocross stunt shows. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend on the celebrity stage presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Friday, meet AEW Tag Team Superstars, the Lucha Bros. Saturday, it's Noel G, Hector from the Fast and Furious. Sunday, it's Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama, November 23rd through 26th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupi's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggieland? Head to the Lupi Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Lupi Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere.
It's the In Real Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we have John Vincent, U.S. News and World Report. And we're going to talk about, well, they were embargoed until Thursday, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute. But we're going to talk about Auto Brand Award winners, okay? I think that you're going to be interested. Okay?
Yes.
That's coming up. We also have stories making automotive news headlines this week. Thanks for joining us here on the In Real Time Car Talk Show. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, we always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. It's a beautiful day here in Snoogie Land, Texas. The sun is out. What is it, about 69, 68 degrees?
Something like that. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's really a pretty day here. It's
the ugliness is coming.
Rain tomorrow and Monday, but at any rate, I don't want to put a damper.
Thanksgiving is supposed to be nice.
Is it?
Allegedly.
Well, it's good. Come down to the car show. Mm-hmm. Speaking of somebody at the car show, it looks like to me that John Vincent with U.S. News is on some sort of a junket at some car show. Hi, John. How are you?
Good morning. How are you gentlemen this morning?
Well, we're doing fine. Are you at a car show?
I am at a car show. I love car shows so much. I spent my whole week down in L.A. at the L.A. Auto Show. Got home yesterday, drove to Seattle, and this morning I'm on the floor of the Seattle Auto Show.
Okay. You are Mr. Auto Show.
There's one in New Guinea next week.
Yeah, New Guinea.
No.
John, so I kind of made fun of the fact that the news that we're about to give by U.S. News is embargoed in 12:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday, November 16th. It's a press kind of thing. So if you go to an event or they release something special that they have, they'll release it maybe the day before or 2 days before, but the information in the press release or wherever it is, whatever they're showing, it's embargoed, meaning
you can't talk about it.
You can't talk about it. Well, I guess the embargo is off because Thursday is 2 days behind us, and we can talk about it now. So let's talk about the U.S. News report on the 2024 Best Vehicle Brands and Best CPO Program Awards. How long has this been in the works?
This has been in the works for years and years.
Yeah.
We have done these for about 10 years. And they recognize the brands that have the highest overall aggregate scores in our new vehicle rankings and reviews.
Okay, so what are the criteria for judging these different brands? Now, we're talking about automotive brands now, not individual cars, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So U.S. News is a very research-based company. What we do is we look at all of the solid reviews from all other outlets.
Like us.
And look at exactly. And look at the overall tone of those reviews, bring them into our system, plus add quantitative information on predicted reliability, safety, and come up with an overall score, which then goes into a ranking so you can compare that car directly against its competitors.
Interesting. Okay. So there is criteria, established criteria for all of these brands. They don't even know, do they?
But it's not opinion-based. It is...
well, it is kind of.
It is based on the aggregate of everybody's opinion.
Okay.
And you know
plus
what,
your, plus
you know
your
what
testing.
opinions are.
Yeah, just like ears. Everybody's got two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't have a dartboard in back. We it's research based.
Yeah. Okay. And did you find any surprises in these? I guess there's 4 of them.
Yes. On the luxury brand, every year we've had the award so far. It has been won by Porsche. This year it was won by Rivian, newcomer to the auto market.
Well, I have seen in person a Rivian, and I was thoroughly impressed. Now, I've not driven one. I will say that right up front. And they're a new automaker that has had some financial difficulties along the way. And as you can imagine, trying to build a car, ask John DeLorean how that went for him. But at any rate, I am surprised and I'm not surprised. How do you feel about it?
I'm a little surprised, but Rivian has a lot of buzz. Their vehicles have spectacular performance. You're talking about a pickup truck that has performance numbers that you would have only found in a Porsche 911 5 years ago. Some really innovative tech. They have this gear tunnel that's located between the cab and the bed that provides additional weather-protected lockable storage on it. It has a huge front trunk, so you have even more secure storage up there. The vehicles just work.
So it kind of, the way that you describe it, you're kind of describing something that may have been relatable to the Tucker back in its day.
Well, hopefully Rivian stays around a little longer.
Well, yes, no. Yeah. Well, that aside, but what I'm saying is that, you know, the Tucker for its day was extremely innovative, and a different power plant that was in the back of the car. Now, granted, this is an electric car, so it does have that setup. But as far as innovation is concerned, even the look of it is different. It's not your typical pickup truck.
And why is it considered luxury and not in the truck category?
Price point.
Okay.
It's not an inexpensive truck.
No.
No, not by any stretch.
Yeah, and it also goes to the SUV, and it's not, the R1S is not an inexpensive SUV.
Right. So this would be over and above the $150,000 Ford Lightning that's all decked out with everything, including the kitchen sink in it.
I have yet to see one that high, but they definitely are getting up there.
Yeah. Well, I was exaggerating a little bit, but I know that they are
pricey.
They are north of $100,000.
Right.
Okay. So
I did just drive the $84,000 Chevy Silverado EV work truck And I can't imagine somebody buying a work truck at $84,000.
No. Well, unless they've got some special work at some high-end bond company or some sort of that has nothing to do with trucks.
Well, it would be the installer of the electric devices that you recharge vehicles.
There you go. So let's talk about car brands. Now, when we talk about these things, as far as winners are concerned, you talk about car brands. Does that include every car known to man?
When we talk about car brands, we are specifically talking about the car segment. So not SUVs, not trucks.
Correct.
And not luxury.
But what I'm saying is cars. 2-door,
Yes.
4 doors, convertibles, sports cars, just cars.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And that category has changed recently because some manufacturers or some brands no longer offer cars, and all they sell are SUV vehicles.
Correct. Yes. In fact, the company behind me only has 2 cars in their lineup right now: the Civic
and the Accord.
Accord.
And which
and
one?
they are the winner of our 2024 Best Car Brand of the Year.
Yeah, Honda wins the best car brand of the year. So this really doesn't include things like trim levels. It doesn't include things. Well, I guess it does. It includes everything, but you don't break it down into certain criteria. It's the overall car.
It is the overall brand. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
That's a good way to look at it, though.
I think it is.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do. Because do you know anybody else that does it that way?
Well, no, I don't. That's
Does
what I'm
Consumer
saying.
Reports do it that way? To an extent, I guess they do. But
No,
to
but
get,
They
get
still
very
drive
model
it down
specific,
to
yeah.
models, yeah.
Yeah. So at any rate, okay. So what about the SUV brand that you guys really liked as far as SUVs within
So
their
another
brand?
interesting winner. For the last few years, Hyundai has been our winner, but this year they got dethroned by Mazda. Mazda has a couple of new vehicles in the marketplace, CX-50 and CX-90, that are getting very good reviews. Plus, the CX-5, which is one of the oldest vehicles in the segment, continues to do extremely well in our rankings and reviews.
I just wish that they would fix their infotainment system in the way that operates. That's my complaint about Mazda. Other than that, I think they build a great car.
Good looking car too.
Yeah, exactly.
The new ones are
They
gorgeous.
are starting to change that. They do have touch screens in many of their vehicles.
Do you feel the same way that I do?
I do.
That's good
And
to
there
know.
are a few things, with every brand, there are a few things that just drive you nuts.
Yep.
With Mazda, that's one of them.
Yeah, well, it's good that apparently we've gotten through to them. At least somebody has, and said, "Hey, my youngest daughter is an astrophysicist, so she's not stupid by any stretch of the imagination. So I didn't set her up to fail at this. I said, okay, I want you to go in and I want you to use the navigation system in the Mazda, and then she attempted to do that. And what was her comment was, well, this is stupid."
not very intuitive.
It's not
Just
intuitive.
sum it up real quick.
And it's funny because there are so many manufacturers that they all get to the same point, but it's how you get there. How many screens do you have to go through to drill it down to say navigation? I want to go to Mike's house. Yeah. And it may be something simple like that for me as a car buyer, I'm calling it off, because there are too many competitors out there that actually get it right and make it easy for anybody to use, and that's the way I look at it.
Have you gentlemen driven the new GMC Canyon yet?
I got one sitting in my driveway. I was just
Yes, we
thinking
have,
about it.
and we absolutely love it. How about you?
No.
No.
It has one feature that makes me give pause, and that is that it does not have a headlight switch. The headlight switch is in the navigation system.
I didn't notice that.
We didn't notice that.
I will notice that because I'm not a fan of. Well, let me just
Automatic
say,
lights.
I'm going to review that next week. But we're talking about ease of use and stuff buried down in the screens that you got to go hunt for. That's Google.
Yeah. I've dealt with that, but I didn't actually. When we do car reviews here, we don't drill it down quite to the depth that you do.
But if
that's
you're
good to
used
know.
if you're used to automatic lights, which I am on all of my cars, I don't think about turning the lights on and off. It's just they're
But I
automatic.
do know somebody, the guy that you talked to this morning, Mike Silman, he will not use the automatic feature. I'm not using that. I goes up there and does it manually.
I don't use mine either.
He's one of those kind of guys that goes down the road after sunset with no lights on at all because he's got a lit up
He forgot to
instrument
turn it
panel.
on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. We digress.
So, John, let me ask you something. You mentioned, the Rivian's new. You mentioned Mazda's got some new models. Do you see anything about what's new, the new wow factor being an influence? I mean, I know you're looking at it across everybody, but
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. People are looking for the latest and greatest, and those latest and greatest always, get a lift in our rankings.
Okay.
But here's an interesting one. The next brand we're going to talk about, the best pickup truck brand, is Ram, and they have the oldest model in the marketplace.
Yeah, well, you've got to wonder, what does that say about the others out there with that they've put all this money and technology into? But Ram has managed to up the ante, especially with their interiors and the ease of use of their infotainment system. Do you agree or not?
Absolutely. Interiors, infotainment, Uconnect is fantastic, and that truck actually also has a spectacular ride that nobody else matches.
I agree.
Right.
Totally
The coil
agree with you.
suspension, yeah, absolutely.
And Ram used to be a sponsor of this program, and we try not to be biased, and I don't think that I am biased to any one manufacturer or truck brand or anything. But I just got out of a Ram 1500 that was loaded to the hilt, and it was fantastic. Prior to that, I'd just gotten out of a Mercedes-Benz GLS, and I would put the ride of that pickup truck against that Mercedes any day.
I agree.
Yay me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can we find all of this information for our listeners and our viewers?
You can go to usnews.com and click on the Cars tab. And just as an aside, while you guys have you here, this car behind me you probably haven't seen before.
What is that?
That is the new Honda Prologue, which is a joint venture car between Honda and General Motors, using the same Ultium technology as in the Chevy Blazer.
Interesting. I've seen a picture of it, but this is the first I've seen it being shown.
I thought it was an Accord sitting back there.
It is a pretty sharp-looking little SUV.
Now, you haven't driven it yet, have you?
I have not.
Yeah. Because, your type, when we were talking about, going to car reveals and that sort of stuff by manufacturers, and we all have such busy schedules. I've got all of us have full-time jobs, and we just can't do it anymore. But we remember the day when we would go to reveals all over the United States, and boy, we would be all over that car.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so what's up next on your agenda?
Well, we have one more award we didn't talk about, and that is Best CPO Brand, which has been won by Lexus every year that we've had it.
All right.
CPO.
Certified
pre-owned.
Yeah.
Certified pre-owned.
I didn't see that in the notes.
A used car with a warranty.
Are all of them that way?
All the manufacturer-backed CPO programs have factory-backed warranties.
Okay, factory
Some are
back.
better than others.
Yes.
So, and you find that the coverage from Lexus is the best, or that the cars,
the coverage and the extras it comes with top everybody else, including all its luxury competitors.
Wow.
That doesn't surprise me. Did it surprise you?
Not anymore, since they've won it, I think, 7 years in a row.
Yeah.
Well, and what is it within that program that they do that the other manufacturers don't?
Unlimited mileage, extras such as roadside assistance, travel interruption coverage, no significant deductibles on the warranties, and it's an incredibly reliable car to begin with, so you're probably not even going to need that warranty.
So what you're saying is that if you're going to go buy a luxury used car, buy a certified pre-owned from Lexus, because pretty much you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
Oh, and unlimited mileage is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
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 I had a nephew come over the other day. He just got a 22 Toyota Camry CPO. and he was telling me about it. It's not quite as good as the Lexus by any means, but he was telling me about what his warranty was from the factory on that CPO.
Well, John, it's always great to talk to you and great information, and thank you very much. I didn't mean to leave out the CPO. I see it here in the press release, but I can come up with many excuses. But I won't, because you'll call me out on them, but that's okay. No, what I meant was...
If you don't, we will.
Yeah, so what's next on the U.S. News car front?
So what you'll see in January are our Best Cars for the Money Award, and those are specific models that we believe are great values to consumers.
Will you be our first phone call? Would you please call us and let us know when you're ready, and we'll schedule you in?
Absolutely. I'll do that one from the floor of the Washington, D.C. Auto Show.
Well, are you coming to the Houston Auto Show?
Maybe not.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, okay, well, don't then, and we'll just say you did.
Okay.
John, it's great always to talk to you. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. John Vincent, U.S. News.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, it is cool stuff. It's interesting to find, what the parameters are, and I think we had this conversation earlier in the show about the girl that called here with her take on whatever the awards that she had doled out, and she was the judge.
I'm trying to remember. I'll have to go back and look and see
who
she was working for at the time.
Well, she ain't working for us, that's for sure. All right. Time now for some of the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Let me just jot this down here, because you know what? I will forget it.
Don't forget.
No. If anybody could do it.
Don't forget to write it down.
There we go. All right. Continental, you familiar with them?
Tires.
Sure.
Well, they don't only make tires. They make a lot of components that are put on vehicles for manufacturers. They're cutting thousands of jobs worldwide as the component supplier and tire maker takes steps to reduce cost and bolster the competitiveness of its automotive unit. Reduction is part of a plan to reduce annual costs by $428 million. The exact numbers have not yet been decided. Expected to be in the mid 4-digit range, according to the statement. That's major.
I wonder if that was impacted by the strike.
Yes, absolutely.
Probably.
Stellantis and a pair of Tier 1 automotive suppliers have been granted permission to take over the tooling from a bankrupt supplier to avoid enormous losses from shutting down vehicle assembly lines. The automaker, along with Adient PLC and Yanfeng Automotive Interior Systems, was given relief late last week in the U.S. bankruptcy court from an automatic stay on the assets of Unique Fabricating N.A. Auburn Hills, Michigan-based supplier of plastic, rubber, and foam components filed for Chapter 7 liquidation on Thursday.
We talked about that the whole time the strike was going on.
Yeah, well, actually before the strike.
And that was a Tier 1.
That's a Tier 1.
That's pretty high level.
Yes. In other words, they make a lot of important stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, Stellantis, speaking of, offering, did you see this, Mars? Offering voluntary buyout packages to 6,400 U.S. salaried employees in response to, quote, unquote, challenging market conditions. A statement, Stellantis said, it's taking necessary structural actions to protect our operations and the company. Vote on tentative labor agreement that provides double-digit raises and calls for $19 billion in manufacturing.
So ratify your new contract, and when you do that, you're gone.
Get rid of the salary people.
You're
hey,
gone.
I was there. Happened to me.
Yeah,
but you got to remember, though, when those UAW contracts are agreed to, there is a rollout effect on the salaried employees that get similar increases.
Yes.
I beg to differ.
Well, it might not have been with you, but in the automobile it was. When we did at GM, the strikes always impacted our pay.
We talked to our friend Jack Nerad, and he's involved in this at the Los Angeles Auto Show on Thursday. Honda, Hyundai, and Toyota made the cut for Car of the Year, while 2 Chevy pickups are up against the Ford Super Duty in the truck category. The battle for 2024 North American Car, Truck, and Utility of the Year is now set. The winners will be announced January 4th at the M1 Concourse Racetrack in Pontiac, Michigan. Re-engineered Toyota Camry. When it arrives, the next generation will be exclusively hybrid, have all-wheel drive available as an option for all trim levels, and feature new styling and technology inside and out. Camry remains the top-selling midsize sedan in the U.S. through the first 9 months of 2023, well ahead of the second-place Honda Accord and also the Chevy Malibu. Interesting.
And Kathy was driving the Camry before she landed on the Lexus.
And not many others, because the car business is
it's
shrinking.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll continue to shrink. I think that there'll still be some name brand manufacturers, Honda. Chevrolet, I think, will probably still have a car, maybe two. And
Ford's virtually out of the car business.
Yeah, they're out of the car business. And how's that doing for their business? Not too well. I don't understand that thinking.
I think there's an adjustment coming in the next few
Well, they are
years.
in the car business because they still make the Mustang.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the only one I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mercury doesn't exist anymore. And Lincoln, they've kind of fallen off the radar.
They're not making cars either. They're all SUVs.
I know that. But they've only got 3. That's all they got?
Yeah.
Really?
The
How do you do
Corsair
that? Why
whatever.
would you take a name brand like that and not do anything with it?
And purposely
you
delete it.
Destroy it.
You keep the profit centers and you let the rest of it go. That's what they're doing.
Look at Cadillac.
How about those
CT4,
dealers?
CT5.
How about those dealers that are still waiting for some new product to come
Yeah, they
out?
don't
General
count.
Motors is formally registered with Formula One's governing body to provide power units to a proposed Andretti Cadillac team for 2028. The sanctioning body, FIA, has approved an expression of interest from Andretti to enter as an 11th team, but Formula One is still considering the application. Formula One will have new engine regulations from 2026, with GM set to be the 7th manufacturer if Andretti secures approval. Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault, Audi, Honda, and Red Bull Ford are already committed. So Ford is the supplier to Red
Ford
Bull.
is sneaking in the back door. I read an article this past week about that as well.
And if GM's making it, I wonder if they can make the lifters last.
It's the quiet Ford takeover.
There is that. All right, time now for a quick break here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We'll wrap up today's show right after this.
Houston's finest cars are invited to another Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, and you're invited too. Show off your personal pride and joy, or just stop in to see the likes of Lucid, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, and more. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. It all takes place Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon. This is the perfect opportunity to connect with other car enthusiasts. From BMWs to Bentleys, Corvettes to McLarens, the Car Social is a different kind of show. Talk to the owners. See Gulf Coast Auto Shield's facility. You'll be amazed. Put it on your calendar now. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Car Social, Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. We'll see you then.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama! At the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, and performance cars. The ultimate lowrider showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics. See Lone Star Throwdowns, Texas-sized truck spread. And don't miss the traditional rod and custom section. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, see wild, high-flying freestyle motocross stunt shows. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend on the celebrity stage presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Friday, meet AEW Tag Team Superstars, the Lucha Bros. Saturday, it's Noel G, Hector from the Fast and Furious. Sunday, it's Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 23rd through 26th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupi's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggie Land? Head to the Lupi Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Lupi Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere.
Well, that's it for this week's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Here's your invitation to follow us on Facebook, give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our stuff if you would. We'll keep you posted on all things automotive all week long, including new car reviews, upcoming events, cruise-ins, racing, and car, truck, and SUV goodies. When you need a car fix during the week, you can find the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 via the iHeartRadio app. We live stream this show on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11. Next week at bonus hour up until noon. Daily 30-minute podcasts are available on your favorite streaming provider. There's a new episode every day. The In-Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Advisor and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For booking agent and wheel polisher, Mike Mars. Mr. Know-It-All, his royalty, King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. We hope you join us for another live award-winning production of the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show next Saturday, November 25th, 2023, for our Houston Autorama remote broadcast from the George R. Brown Convention Center in downtown Houston, 8 to noon. Yes, a bonus hour next Saturday on all of our In-Wheel Time Car Talk outlets. Have a great weekend. We hope you join us again. See you at Autorama.